What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another live stream on the Ben Thomas Show. We are here for Let's Get Nuts, and I've got a great panel sitting in the wings behind me. So I'm going to introduce all those guys to you shortly. We might have a few more people jump in later in the stream. We've got a really full show sheet. There's been a lot of things that have happened since last Sunday. So we're going to dive into that. We've got some news. We've got some cool things to point out. But without that said, I want to say thank you for joining another live stream. I love seeing all you guys in the chat here. Let's get into it.
Come on, let's get nuts.
I give you Ben Thomas.
Showtime.
Here we go.
Alrighty, welcome back. Let's get the first honored guest in the chat here.
Hello.
We've got Hoth's hometown hero, AJ. Welcome to the Ben Thomas Show. First time streaming with you, good sir. Very
Thank you for
excited to
having
have
me.
you here. Yeah, man, for sure. Thank you for joining. Let's see here. Just going to put on some music, and then we'll get the rest of these boys in there because they're eagerly waiting. I see they're making faces at me from the back room here for sure. We've got Mr. Pete from OFAC.
Hello.
Only Fools and Collecting on Collecting Weekly stream. Good to see you, buddy. We need that little, like,
too.
British flair in the chat, you know? Like, for me, it makes my life just that little bit more complete. Mr. Marco G, 16fix. Good to see you here. You said you'd be 5 minutes late, and then you arrived on time. I think you just, like, kind of dangling that just to, like, watch me sweat a little bit.
Yeah, I was rushing. I was running around, showering, and got it wrapped up a bit quicker than anticipated, but didn't want you waiting for me, so...
You don't look Russian at all, to be honest, but, like, people have said that my sensitivity side is lackluster. So.
You should see my mom, honestly.
Fair enough. And then also another first-time guest on the Ben Thomas Show, Mr. Calvin, a.k.a. the Loki Collector. Something about meat dangling or meat packages.
If you're gonna insult me, at least do it right.
Yeah,
Say it
right.
right.
Yeah, you're gonna have to script it for me next time.
Marco knows the names. He's been there. He's seen it.
There you go.
He is Calvin, a.k.a. Low-Key Collector, a.k.a. the Draw Dropper, a.k.a. the Meat Platter, a.k.a.
there you go.
No, I'm kidding.
There you go.
I love how everybody tries to take like inappropriate things and change them around.
I can't keep up with it.
They're like it's mine now.
can't
Like
Exactly.
And
I
just
started
know- I'm gonna end up offending somebody too. I just know it.
probably I started doing DTF, but now it stands for Dig This Fake.
I was wondering about
Nice.
that actually when I tuned in last night to your show. So that's awesome. Let's check in with the chat real quick, guys, because again, we've got a full show sheet. We got 2 hours about that, maybe less. We'll see how she goes, because then we've got the Royal Rumble over on Nick's Collectibles this evening. So we cannot be late for that, because I want to see my wrestling character mess with Marco especially. I'm kind of hoping he rubs him out, but.
Excuse me, rubs your character out. Wow.
In
Yeah,
a wrestling
totally 80s
style
promo.
way.
Totally.
You gotta be more careful.
I gotta
That's
be
a
more
tough nut to
careful. I should
swallow.
script myself way more often.
You got a pretty sweet Magnum TA quote going there.
There you go. We've got Thule in the house. First person in the stream today. What's up, Ben? Hope all is well. Good to see you here. We've got Eddie Rodriguez. Thanks for joining, my friend. Hoth's hometown hero himself in the chat and in the panel. You love to see it. Cuervo. We just did an awesome unboxing on 16fix with Cuervo. He opened up his sculpted Joker from InArt. So if you missed that, tune into that after the show. It was a really, really fun time with the boys. We got 12-inch Moose Stream. Greetings, community of collectors. Thanks for joining in, buddy. I definitely appreciate you here. Who else do we got here? We got Dammit Spock, Evening Ben from the UK. One of my fellow Star Trek folks out there. Every time we post Star Trek videos, I get all the messages from these guys, and it's like it actually makes my life, because I love Star Trek, and all the folks that follow Star Wars and everything. They're always kind of like, I don't know, Star Wars is cooler, and I'm like, oh, maybe.
Is that even a debate?
I don't know. It's definitely a debate. We got Thalia Meyer in the house. Thanks for joining in. And we got Melissa Lamos. I don't know if I've seen this name before. Thanks for joining in. That's awesome. Definitely appreciate your presence here. And we've got Vibranium Jim. Love it. What's up, everyone? I see the Moon Knight there, and I'm a big fan. We're going to dive into that. I'm sure more people will roll in. We'll check them out later here. Let's get on with the slides, guys. So, again, I had to pull this up for you right away. I have a bit of a show and tell section. Now, I don't know if you guys put some things together, if you've got anything cool either this week or just kind of in the last month you wanted to show me. I always like seeing kind of what's highlighted in your collection. This from Ren's Talentino or Tolentino .art came to me this week, and it's the Wednesday Addams, obviously. And it is a print, but I gotta say, I don't collect artwork very often.
Oh, it's massive.
It was huge.
Dude, that's awesome.
I didn't ask the size of it ahead of time, and I just bought it. Like, willy-nilly, I was like, that's amazing, I want one, put me on your list. And he does limited runs on this artwork, so I definitely recommend if you ever see one of Ren's art pieces kind of pop up on his Instagram, like, definitely jump on that when you can, because it seems to me like once his limited run is done, it's kind of just done. But he gives the certificate of authenticity, which was a really nice little extra that I did not expect. I got it framed. I got it up on the wall now, which I didn't take a picture of, so I'll have to share that with you guys another time. But definitely recommended. So that, again, is Ren's. Let me see here. I got a banner for it because I always forget. So it's renstolentino.art on Instagram. If you're interested in his prints, they're freaking awesome. But Hoth's hometown hero.
He just popped up and he's been everywhere, and I am all here for it.
Well, definitely, and that's one of the reasons that I wanted to highlight him as well, because he's jumping in all the chats. He's doing lots of super chats and just being present in a lot of the community, really supportive. And he's a really good person. And honestly, as I said, his artwork is insane. In the Instagram, you get a kind of a chance to see what his art process looks like, so you can actually see kind of how it starts versus how it finishes. It blows me away. I'm just not that talented. Nobody wants me to draw a picture of them. So, but AJ, you sent me this a few minutes ago, and I have no idea what this really is, other than what it obviously is. But I've never seen this before. So tell us about it.
So I apologize. First off, what's up to Philip the Fool in the chat? I was gonna type, but wanted to talk about this real quick. So this figure might incite some people, and I don't mean to upset anyone, but I am a big fan of this Iron Strange, and he comes with this hand right here, which, if you've ever DJ'd before, is the exact motion that your hand would be in if you were working like a crab scratch on the mixer.
Too bad we don't have Dean here. He would really appreciate that.
No doubt.
So I primarily, obviously, Hoth's hometown here. I primarily, as you can see, everything behind me is Star Wars. I have a little bit of Marvel up on this top shelf. I have my Star Trek stuff over there, and then mostly giant sci-fi fan. So I cherry pick Marvel, but I was wondering how I was supposed to display my Marvel figures in my collection. And I came to the idea that I'm going to build a massive diorama. I'm going to pair it with the N1 should the N1 happen to come, because I'm going to need to make a big enough case, so I'm going to have a second shelf for another display, but I need something that's big enough to display that. So I'm going to make I think the size that I decided on was 82 inches by 67 inches. It's going to be a Marvel multiversal bar display. So it's basically just going to be a bar. Iron Strange is going to be the DJ. I can take the repulsor lights. I'm going to wire those up so that they're on their own feed, and I can have them flashing as the strobe lights on the dance floor.
That's cool.
That way it doesn't matter when I'm buying a Marvel figure, what movie they came from, but I could just have an all-inclusive, this is all my Marvel figures and all my Marvel stuff. So I could have President Loki on a stage doing stand-up comedy or something, some people in the crowd dancing.
You need to have that. You need to have the grade 8 dance moves, where somebody's straight out at the arms, holding each other at the waist. 100%. I tried to dance with Shauna like that earlier, and she was like, "Yeah, no," and walked away. So that's the way she goes.
So what this was, I bought the last one that came with the vinyl. So if you buy this now, I can share the link in the section if anybody's interested. But it's only going to come with the 3 turntables, the mixer, the CDJ, the CD. You do not get any vinyl because I bought the last one that had that. I think I shared this on my Instagram at least twice over the last week. It was supposed to be here by Friday, but it's running a little bit behind. It's supposed to be here I think the latest possible date was like April 4th. So I'm imagining sometime next week. I was hoping I was going to have it to like physically show you guys how sweet it was. The slides and the faders are supposed to like actually work too.
That's amazing.
Holy
And you got
cow.
this on Etsy, I think I saw.
Yes,
right?
this was on Etsy. I do not offhand remember the seller information,
All good.
but he's got a couple other things, like some Amazon boxes, and I bought my Christmas hats, I think, off there too. When Mafia was doing the Christmas pictures.
That's amazing. I've wanted to do the Christmas hats for a while, but I've just never ended up pulling the trigger. And then I saw somebody else do it recently as well, and it was like, that actually looks pretty sweet. It might have even been Mafia, to be honest. But
They fit better on like a head sculpt like that, but they're a bitch to put on a stormtrooper.
yeah, all right.
That's
Like-
a wide helmet.
If they just kept sliding, so then I cut it, and then if I had to retake the picture like 3 times, because the first time I took it, I had the cut like on the back of his head, because I was thinking that's normally where you'd put it so you wouldn't see. Well, the back of his head was to the camera, so now I have the slit, so now I had to like take the hat and like turn the hat. Like I had to redo the picture like 4 times before I submitted it.
Cool. Well, thanks for sharing, buddy. That's cool.
Yeah,
That's a really cool pickup. I've even looked at like 1/6 scale couches on
Yep.
Etsy and like a whole bunch of random stuff that you just like. Even thrones. Like if you're looking for thrones, they've got some really cool like tall style chairs and stuff
You
that
can
you can
find some nice ones on Amazon too for like
100%.
$6.
100%. Pete, have you got anything recently, buddy, that you wanted to show off?
No, although I should have tomorrow the official OFAC celebration T-shirt.
Amazing.
That I'll be rocking at celebration in just under 2 weeks' time. So yeah,
I'm super jealous that I can't come to that, by the way. I'm not going to lie. So many people are talking about it. Calvin, you are going to celebration.
I will see Pete when I get there. Yes, sir.
very cool. Yeah, that'd be amazing.
Nice.
That's awesome. Have you been picking up anything recently, Calvin, that's come to the collection, either this week or just this month?
No, I've got plenty of orders out there, but no, I'm all focused on this trip and trying to get ready for that because I'm doing London and Paris as well. So if you want to say Disneyland tickets for Paris, that I collected those, and all the rest of these bills that go along with the trip. So I've collected those.
Collecting bills.
Right.
When are you heading over to the UK, Calvin? When you
We fly out 4:00 from LA on the 5th, Wednesday the 5th. We arrive the next morning, and then we're there through Sunday evening, and then we fly out to Paris.
Oh wow. Where are you staying?
The Mitre something like that.
They said something meat. I was like, whoa.
See, and as soon as it came out of my mouth, I was like, I hear Marco. I already gave him ammo. I hear it coming.
So in London, or yeah.
That's in London. Yeah, I'll look it up and see where my location is.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah.
That's awesome.
No,
And then, Marco,
yeah.
have you picked up anything recently that you wanted to just at least show off? Nothing.
Nothing collecting related. I think I've talked about the Han Solo and the Bo-Katan that I added recently, but I will say I did buy the Zack Snyder 4K Blu-ray of the Justice League. His cut, I wasn't a big fan of the square aspect ratio, but I started watching the Batman versus Superman Ultimate cut in that same aspect ratio, and it kind of grew on me. I was like, okay, I see how this maybe makes the actors and the heroes look a bit larger. So of course this was like $13, had to go out and get it on a nice deal. So I have this really big problem of buying 4K Blu-rays and then never watching them. So this is another one to add to the list.
So, speaking of that, though, you were saying that you just were watching John Wick Part 1. Now, I've been a little under the weather this weekend, guys, so if I don't even see myself, that is 100% of the reason why. On Friday night, I watched John Wick Part 1 for the very first time. I've never seen it before, Chapter 1. And then I binge-watched Chapter 2 and Chapter 3 yesterday on the couch, trying to feel better with some coffee. And that was a roller coaster ride of an experience. I obviously had heard that it was a badass film, very obviously. But I didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I did, especially watching it kind of sequentially like that. I didn't realize that like Chapter 2 and Chapter 3, I mean, you would think because they're called that, you would expect it to kind of flow into each other. But I didn't realize that it literally flows immediately into each other. Like it's like
Spoilers,
one
bro.
long week,
That was a
right?
week.
Yeah.
All 3 of those movies take place in the span of a week.
I was
No way,
blown
I
away.
actually didn't realize that.
It's just a continuous story.
So that made my experience of the film, I feel like, or of the films, that much more epic, because I didn't have that several year gap that so many people had. I can't imagine part 2 or chapter 2 ending and then having to wait, I think it was 4 years between chapter 2 and chapter 3. But I haven't seen chapter 4 yet, and I was like, it's getting greatly good reviews in the theaters.
It's amazing.
So I'm pretty excited. I didn't bring the picture up, and I know, AJ, you shared it with me. I'll try and pick it up here, or pull it up in a second. But they teased, Hot Toys, I should say, teased some John Wick figures from chapter 4. And then immediately took it down, like within a couple hours, if not the same day. So all of us, Hot Toys heads, we were able to screenshot it pretty quickly. But Marco, I'll start with you. What do you think that means for actually getting those figures in hand? Is that a bad sign, or what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so I'm trying to think back when Hot Toys, teased all of these properties that they were going to be releasing figures for. They kind of released all these thumbnails of like, okay, we're going to do Return of the Jedi, we're going to do more Clone Wars stuff. I want to say John Wick was on that list. Now, I don't know that for a fact. Okay, so thank you, AJ, for confirming. So this might just be like a minor rights hiccup. We didn't see the actors' likenesses in this teaser, so it may just be some like legal hang up that they've got to sort out before they end up moving forward. But I think it's always been in their plan. I'm not too worried about them pulling it down. Now, if we don't hear anything from them for a month, let's say, which wouldn't be so uncharacteristic, then I may start to worry. But I'm sure it's just something that maybe was premature, and they'll be giving us a larger tease here in the near future.
I hope so, because I know that things hit the graveyard occasionally, not usually that quickly though. And Bob Dylan, he's one of those guys out there that occasionally he'll show pictures of his collection, and the guy's got nine different John Wicks in his collection. And I'm like, okay, come on, share the wealth, just a little bit. I don't have one yet, right? I'll take it off your hands. I can borrow it. I'll treat it well. But if they don't end up releasing this, I went, as we all do, as soon as I finished watching the films the other day, I immediately jumped online and started looking for these figures. And Canadian dollars, I'm looking at $600 plus dollars just to get this guy. And I've heard some kind of feedback that the older figure isn't as good as you'd want it to be. The likeness is pretty good, but I know the suit fits a little tight, a little hard to get into some John Wick poses. And I've also heard the feedback that the arms were oddly long. Kelvin, you've got it in your collection. Tell me what your thoughts are on that figure, good sir. I love how we could just pull it out. That's amazing.
I've heard the complaints. I don't agree. I mean, yeah, it might be a little tight, but he was tightly fitted. He was kicking ass and looking good the whole time.
Better than a really baggy suit as well.
Correct. So, but what I also love is, if you guys know CRO Customs, Crow Customs on Instagram, I've got 2 accessory packs from him where he gave me this to see the shells popping out popping out here. So it's that, as well as all the extra accessory parts. So basically, I have his whole arsenal on him.
Is that just a little wire with the shell?
Yeah. So it's one shell on the inside holding it.
Dude, that's tight.
Then it looks like it's popping out. So it's,
yeah. I like that's a see. Wow. This is a diorama maker's wet dream.
So yeah, man, you need it to happen. Chris can take care of it for you. Let's see. You also get this as well.
Yeah, I've seen that before.
Wow, dude, that looks awesome.
Got the whole thing, so it's a whole nice little display for what arsenal I don't use.
Is there a sledgehammer anywhere in that setup?
I don't have a sledgehammer.
Okay.
But if I give it to you, I'm surprised you didn't say it was between my legs. So.
All right, let's add a new nickname now, aka the Sledgehammer.
The Sledgehammer. Oh god. Wow. That's cool. And this is the tease. Thanks, AJ, for sending that through. Obviously, again, we can't see the likeness to either of these guys. I don't know who the person in the white turtleneck is yet.
That's Donnie Yen.
Donnie Yen. Okay.
He's called Kang, and he was, oh my god, badass.
Yeah.
This is the same character that played Chirrut, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the first time that you see him in Hitman mode, it all makes sense. You're like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm totally blind Hitman. Right on. I'm with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's he has. It's a minor spoiler. I'm not going to say it, but he has a device that helps aid him. I won't give any more.
Say no more.
So I'm not spoiling it for anybody. But yeah, he has tools and things that he does that helps him aid with his blindness. And they actually go into how he ended up as a blind person as well in the movie.
Crazy. Pete, are you gonna get this figure if it comes out, or have you had any John Wicks in your collection?
No, I haven't. I'm gonna be really unpopular here and say I'm not a massive fan.
Fair enough.
I respect. It's pretty cool when people like it. I'm disappointed that we're not seeing as I would say, Lovejoy figure. That's one for the UK listeners there. So Ian McShane, he in the 80s he was in a like a comedy drama thing called Lovejoy, where he was like a dodgy antiques dealer.
I would like a Winston.
Yeah. Is that him? Yeah.
He's Winston in this. And then Lance Reddick, who just passed away, is I forget what his name is, but he plays the sommelier, or not the sommelier, the
like the
front desk guy.
The front desk.
Well, it's not a bellhop; it's a concierge.
Concierge. Yes, thank you. Yes.
So Pete, were you talking about the owner of the hotel or the manager, as they refer to?
Yeah, the old guy. Yeah, I know him as Lovejoy. That was his character from the 80s.
Yeah, he's a great character actor.
And Ian McShane. And I was looking at this picture. I thought that's definitely not him on the right. That's not his body profile there. So
no, it's John Wick and King.
Yeah.
That's very cool. I am excited. I am crossing my fingers. Tell me in the chat, guys, are you guys going to pick this figure up? Let me know your thoughts on that. So real quick, because again, we have such a full show sheet, but today, like I mentioned, is the first time we have AJ Hoth's Hometown Hero on the channel. So I did want to ask you, good sir, just a little bit about your very brief history on your collecting journey and kind of what inspired you to actually start a YouTube channel, especially with all of us streamers out there. Take it away. Floor is yours.
For those of you stopping by today, you're going to see a drastically different page. I just upgraded it on Saturday before my show, so you'll see the new and improved Hoth's Hometown Hero page. I bought my first hot toy in 2018, which was the quarter scale Infinity Gauntlet, which is basically a glorified nightlight for anyone who has it. It's cool, but it was very like underwhelming as like the way that the advertising went. But I think that happens sometimes as like a new collector, is you see the way things are like marketed and they're put out there, and they're just kind of, because I didn't know about like YouTubers, 6 scale, quarter scale, like any of that at that point. It was literally just I saw like an advertisement. I was a massive Marvel fan. I've been a massive Marvel fan my whole life, and then Star Wars as well. And I was just like, oh, okay, yeah, right on. So like I got it. And I got it in, and then it was like a little bit underwhelming. And then I was looking at a bunch of other stuff for like what year was that? 2018. So then like 2019, 2020, 2021, and then at the tail end of 2021, I got my first 6 scale figure, and I was just like, oh shit, this is like. So then I kind of started to just like.
What was the first, AJ?
Thanos.
Nice, okay.
Infinity War Thanos was my first in-hand figure. The first pre-order I did was actually Peacemaker, which I'm on the wait list because I had him when nobody wanted him. And then as my collection started to grow, I was like 25 figures in. So you start to figure out like kind of like what you're interested in, right? And like, okay, so I like this kind of figure, this kind of joints, this kind of whatever, and like these kinds of like accessory type deals. You know what I mean?
Different type of joint, Ben. Just
yeah.
Okay. Oh, good. Thanks for clarifying. I was like, ooh, that sounds good. Sorry.
Yeah. Saw your ears perk up there.
But yeah, so you kind of get like a feel like after like your first like 20 figures, you have like a pretty decent idea for yourself like what you're like interested in. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I don't really want to deal with I had the armor, and the armor has been the biggest pain in the ass figure I've ever had. I love her to death. She will never leave my collection. I had to, I did a body swap. I bought the wrong Fison body. I had to mod the feet and then re-drill the holes like 4 times to get the foot pegs to fit in. So she's like, she's never leaving. I've got like 40 hours into that thing just as like the mod to get her like back so that she could go back. Because when I was doing my review of her, if you watch the review, there's only one pose in the little carousel thing. That's because like right after that, I was trying to repose her and the arm snapped off.
Oh my gosh!
And I was just like, oh, what do I do? This is like, and it's outside of the 30 days. I can't return it. So it's just like, okay, so here's the armor. I'm just going to leave it. I'm going to leave my opinion as what it is. I still thought that before
So
the
did you
arm
say you've
snapped off.
drilled holes into it and you broke its arm, and then you said, I'm never going to part with it? I don't think you'll be able to part with it at this point. It is on the record.
You would not, if I gave you the figure, you would not know that it was modded. What the part that I had to drill was I used a Dremel for the feet, because you have to make the footholes the same size. So there's like a little lip on the ball joint, because it's going to pop, and then there's that ring that's holding the ball basically in there, right? Mm-hmm. So like, so much innuendo. So like, that joint ended up getting just a little too fat, so then I had to fill it with like epoxy so that it was a clear, like a flat flush hole, and then I had to drill it out again with like the Dremel. So what you want to do if you're modding that is they have a Dremel bit that looks like a little ball on the end of it, and then it'll have a little corkscrew. What that is meant for is actually to work on ball joints. So it's the actual tool meant for the specific task that I was doing. So I shout out to Weasel Figures, because he was actually one that helped me with that whole process. And I usually consult with him if I have any sort of modding questions or paints or anything along those lines. Shane Shart, if anyone knows him, or Sart, I think. Maybe I'm mispronouncing his name. Anyways, so like, yeah, so I did that, and then I just started like collecting. I started my channel, even though the date says July, I didn't actually start making videos until like October of last year. And I started my channel because I was looking at the way that they market things, and it just kind of like hit that I ended up coming into this as the sales dynamic was changing. And I was like, oh, okay, I can totally do this. I can totally do my channel based on like sales knowledge, so people understand as a consumer like what different terms mean from a retail aspect, because I think especially with the wait list and the things that we've gone, like people are used to how they've been selling things for the last, I don't know, like 15, 20 years, almost basically the same. I mean, obviously the production numbers went up during 2020 because we had all the false positives from people with the stimmy checks that were buying figures when they probably shouldn't have been buying figures, so they were producing more.
Yeah,
but
I feel
like,
attacked.
Yeah. So like, I break down every week on Wednesday. I break down the wait list and what's going on, and I do a different section. So this week coming up will be, I believe, Marvel, and then next week will be Star Wars again, and then there's so few figures for DC and the miscellaneous figures. Like miscellaneous would be stuff like John Wick, the Avatar figures, RoboCop, like the stuff that doesn't belong to basically DC, Marvel, or Star Wars. So I clump the DC and the miscellaneous stuff together because there's basically, you're talking about a total of like 30 figures total.
I want so many of them right now. Like there's so many figures that I've got, even just, I think I've got 8 pre-orders, which for me is a lot. I don't typically pre-order in general. I usually wait till things hit stock. But there are figures that I just felt like I couldn't afford to miss. The RoboCop is one of them. That Darth Vader Deluxe is one of them. Oh my gosh, like there's so many. Like even like Locutus from Exo 6, I'm really, really excited about that. They're in the final stages of paint apps on that one, it sounds like.
Did you do the Kang after we spoke, Ben?
I didn't. I haven't yet.
Okay.
I haven't
Probably
yet.
a good call at this point.
Well, I think that's been rescinded. I did.
We can save that for the.
Sure.
I think I might have saw the same thing that you're talking about.
Yeah, we'll get into that for sure. Mr. Mom's Collectibles, what's up? What's going on, everyone? Ryan, check out Mr. Mom's Collectibles channel as well. AJ, that's a cool story, man. I know you stream typically live every Saturday night. Everybody listening, if you have an opportunity, go over and check out Hoth's Hometown Heroes webpage there on YouTube. I'll put a link in the channel here after the fact. It takes a lot of guts to stream. Just in general, I'm lucky because I get to be supported by friends from Collecting Weekly and all you guys so often. And lately, you've even, AJ, been doing streams by yourself, which is really challenging to do. It's like talking to yourself in a closet, what feels like, for an hour and a half. So that takes some guts. So anybody out there, if you're listening, do him a favor, go hit some subscribers, and check out some of his content. It's pretty cool. I was in the chat last night. I had a bit of a fun time. Of course, I was in bed at the time because I'm pretty much always in bed.
Naturally.
But it did actually inspire me to ask another quick question of Pete. Pete, I don't know what your first Hot Toy figure ever was. I don't know if I've ever asked you.
It was the DX05 Indiana Jones, obviously.
Amazing.
And I now have 12 indies, so beating out the guy with the 9 John Wicks. He's got some catching up to do. But yeah, it was the and then it was the 89 Batman was the second one.
That's amazing. You don't want to challenge Bob Dylan like that. You know he'll come after you with like 8 indies.
Yeah,
next,
bring
right?
it on.
Are you getting the new one, Pete?
Which new one?
The new Batman.
Oh no. I sold the original one. I had the returns one at one point as well. But yeah, I won't be. I haven't got a lot of room left, and I've kind of quite streamlined my collection now. So no, it looks really good. And I had the Batmobile at one point as well, but that thing was huge. So,
the Keaton Batmobile?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm jealous. I'm still on the fence as to whether I want to buy the new one or not yet. I'm like, it's looking pretty tempting.
It was cool, but to me, I've owned that and the original DeLorean, and for me, the DeLorean just took it because of the detail. It felt more like a proper 6-scale model, whereas the 89 Batman is what it is, but it's a big lump of plastic. And if you've not got it under cover, it attracts dust big time. It's bad enough I've got the Lego one, which is a fantastic set,
sure.
But it just, as soon as you get any dust on it, it just looks terrible. So if you get one, I think you've got to get a case for it, really.
Oh yeah, well, and Big Bretta, so our buddy Joao, Big Bretta's channel, he's got like a glass coffee table that he's got his Batmobile in, Pete. And with his Nicholson and Batman, and it looks awesome.
I got a similar thing with my UCS Falcon. I've got in a coffee table.
Have you done a collection tour yet, Pete?
Not for a while. I am due to do one. Definitely need to do one.
That'd be cool. Let us know. I would love to get a reaction, even a live. Me and Marco or somebody could up in and just watch live. I think that'd be really fun to do.
Yeah.
And then Calvin,
definitely.
You took people through a very quick tour the other day on your cell phone of your collection room. I did not know what was truly behind you, good sir, and your collection is epic as hell.
It's
crazy. What was your first figure? How did you get into it?
Long story short, I blame Jetta. If anybody's heard that term out there, I blame Jetta.
I'm sure that's a lot of us.
I was a Funko collector. I got married in 18. Shooting, motorcycles, all that stuff had me out the house. She wanted me to have a hobby she wanted me in the house, so I needed something to, idle hands. So came across Funko, got into that heavy. Watching Jetta, he got me to a guy that was in locally Funko store, but he had Hot Toys on display in his own personal section. I only saw art boxes. I didn't feel a figure. I didn't see a figure. I just saw art boxes. I saw a bunch of Iron Man pieces. And I'm like, yo, what are these? Hot Toys. I'm like, what the hell's a Hot Toy? Go home, try to do my research.
That's a cursed question to ever ask.
Exactly. Type it in, and it kept shooting me to Sideshow. And I'm like, what the hell's a Sideshow? Why? No, I want Hot Toys. And I had to go back and forth with that. So finally got into it. I ordered Mark 50, Mark 85, and Mark 85 Battle Damage. That was my very first order. And then that Mark 50 came in, that diecast hit my hand, and I've been in the Alice's Wonderland rabbit hole ever since.
Very cool, man. And you're not kidding when you say rabbit hole. If you guys haven't seen Calvin's collection, I feel like you're due. I know you don't have your own YouTube channel right now, but you do have Instagram, right? And so I'm sure
Correct.
a lot of
I don't put any of my stuff on here, but that's why my nickname really is Loki. I really am behind the scenes type. So, but like I said, I went from little 5-inch Funkos to you see a whole row of third scales back here. So
we were teasing you earlier because you were like, yeah, I'm kind of low key, I don't have my own channel and stuff. And then Marco and I were like, yeah, you're on more live streams this week than we are, though. So what is happening?
I've gotten comfortable now. I blame Mario for that. He was like, hey, I think you should come on. And so he got me an LWO. And then Lael like kind of punked me in the chat one night and was like, "I'm not going any further on my show until you get on. Come on right now."
Good on Lael.
He can be very persuasive.
He had me in his Collectors International stream last week. He didn't even invite me on. He just put me in the thumbnail and was like, "Ben's coming," and I was like, I guess I'm coming. Awesome. That's the way she goes. That's awesome.
Did you watch him today?
I did. I missed it this morning. I was able to tune in a little bit and then had to have breakfast.
I got the most wonderful reaction screen cap of him.
That's awesome. I'll have to watch that on the replay.
You gotta post it out
he was talking about I said it to him. I don't know. I want to talk to him before I end up using it. But yeah, so they were talking about the Ghostbusters, and then someone said about the price of Slimer, and he like paused it and he had his head all cockeyed, and he was like, "What the fuck is that?" Like,
oh my god, that's amazing.
So it's fantastic.
Tremble Dust here says, my first fig I think was either Nick Fury Civil War or Casual Captain America Civil War. Was collecting Jada Toys figs before the to decorate workstations. Then pandemic hit. I don't know Jada Toys, to be honest. That's new to me. But that Nick Fury, I always kind of wanted one because they haven't really. I don't think they've revisited a Sam Jackson since. And I know we got teased the Mace Windu at one point there, but like. Or I guess it's been solicited now, and it wasn't just teased. I think it was actually solicited. That was one that I hadn't pulled the trigger on yet. So, but I don't know. Nick Fury's a badass, I gotta say. Let's switch gears though, guys, because this popped up the other day in my Instagram, and this was my first look at Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn. And I was pretty happy about it. I'm not gonna lie. I've really enjoyed Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn. I think she's one of the best parts of that kind of universe, to be honest. I think she fit the role incredibly well. But Lady Gaga's always been kind of a strange and unique person, for sure. And I gotta say, like, this looks like something she would wear just to like work. I mean, I was like, is this even a Harley Quinn tease, or is this just her on like a regular day? But Marco, what are your thoughts on this look? Is this getting you more amped up for Joker 2? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so this is another secret shame of mine, but I didn't necessarily love the first Joker film. You know, to me, it almost felt like a knockoff of a Scorsese film, which I get that's what they were going for, but it didn't really like connect with me as much as I wanted it to. I appreciate it was a really well done film, but yeah, just not in my top like some people have it. When I heard this one was going to be a musical, I was like, okay, they're going to do something really weird. Now I'm kind of into it. And Lady Gaga is such a perfect choice because she can play some really wacky roles. Like I just saw House of Gucci, and she is like off the rails on that. I mean, I guess maybe toned down from her on-stage persona, but this looks great. Like I like that it's a bit more grounded from what we've seen from Margot Robbie, and I'm actually like incredibly excited for this film because Todd Phillips is he's done some interesting stuff, and I think this could be a really incredible film overall. So I like the look of this.
This isn't going to be a full musical. It's going to have musical elements, though.
There you go. Well, yeah, no, I guess I didn't anticipate that they go full musical, but
I know some people, because they heard the word musical, they just associate. So, like, just so in case you didn't know, or if you had any
really good clarification, AJ. Appreciate that because I think maybe it'll stay a little bit closer to the original, but have those musical elements. So yeah, it could be really weird and awesome.
I just hope this ends on a happier note. It's not going to, most likely, but I hope it does.
Probably not.
I love the first movie. I've only seen the first movie like twice because it's the Black Swan of comic book movies. It's utterly brilliantly, like the casting, the directing, the lighting, the cinematography. It unrefutedly deserved to win an Oscar. But it's one of those movies, the feeling that you have in your stomach and your chest at the end of it, it's like, cool. So I saw that movie. I love it. I'm never watching it again.
Yeah. It's a tough one. It's a tough nut to swallow for sure.
Do any of you guys own any statues or figures related to the first Joker film?
No.
No,
thought about it, but I never picked it up.
Yeah, I can't remember which was the statue company that had the Joaquin Phoenix. I want to say it was Prime
One had one, and there was another company that had one as well.
J&D did the Arthur Fleck.
And they look pretty badass. I'd still want to stick to 1/6 scale if I was going to pick him up. I didn't love the makeup for his Joker, but that's about the only thing that I didn't love about the film. Otherwise, knocked my socks off. Rated R film, and I mean, it grossed over $1 billion. I mean, it clearly showed that a comic book film style of movie could hit those huge numbers. Just like just like the Deadpool 1 did, right? Pete, if this ends up being a banger, would you want to collect from this line?
No, I don't think so. But I did enjoy the first movie and look forward to this. I think it's interesting the kind of the way it went. It's very, very dark, and obviously it kind of went way more into the kind of the real mental health issues and stuff of the Joker than anyone's gone to before. So I think it had a real kind of real world kind of feel, and yeah, I'll definitely be interested in the movie, but yeah, not something that I would be looking to collect.
That's fair. I mean, musicals sometimes have a greater impact on me than regular film, and I think it happens to me even just through like soundtrack. Like The Dark Knight, one of the reasons I love the Dark Knight film so much is because of the Hans Zimmer soundtrack in the background. Like it gives me chills every time, and I think if
awesome.
As long as it's not like a campy musical, like if there was musical elements to it that really felt like it brought the story forward and really connected the audience,
The music in the first one
could be pretty
was
awesome.
fantastic.
100%, right?
I think that's what we're gonna get from this, from everything that I've heard on the couple times that they've talked about it on the John Campea show, and like some of the other movie like YouTubers, is it's going to be elements of like music, like musical elements. So basically they'll be like talking, and then something that'll spur like some sort of like the lighting drops, and you get some sort of like pantomiming them dancing around, and there's like a little song and dance number, and then that'll just cut right into them like laughing, walking down a hallway or something like that.
And if they're in Arkham Asylum, say, and it's kind of like a fever dream, I could be really into that, honestly.
That could be really cool, because I think that was one thing that I had hoped we'd get more from Margot Robbie's version with Jared Leto, was like just seeing, like, I feel like it could have been its own movie, just seeing her become Harley Quinn, and like that love story, and like them meeting in the asylum, and like all of the ways that she starts to kind of go over the edge and fall in love with him. Like that could have been a film by itself, and I feel like they just like they took one huge step right over that story.
It was supposed to be, but I'm not. I have like rage fits about that first Suicide Squad movie. So they literally, I'm not a release the air cut person. I don't want to waste a bunch of money on a movie that 3/4 of the audience or half the audience didn't enjoy. That's just a waste. He did totally get screwed over though. They literally brought in a company that cuts music videos, which is why we went from the first trailer to you had the feel, this like kind of gritty Man of Steel feel, and then after they started just injecting all the color and the musicals, and it's like cut. It was just that's not.
So who would you rather have then, Jared Leto Morbius or Jared Leto Joker?
Morbius.
I think we need to put them. I think we need to take the both of them over to Nick's channel. We need to have them like Royal Rumble it out to like see which one we keep. I don't think that it's fair for us to judge, because maybe one of them's got more fight in him than the other one.
For sure.
I don't hate the Jared Leto Joker though. But go ahead, Ben.
I hated it. I hated him. I'm with you, Calvin.
That little 30-second, that little 5-minute snippet at the end of Justice League, Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Okay,
phenomenal.
That was terrible. That was
one.
terrible.
But
and
that whole,
You didn't like that?
When he was talking about tugging off Batman, I was like, okay.
Oh my
God.
I did not like very many of the DC. The DCU is such a weird thing to me, because like I love the castings, they look good. The script and the writing, the dialogue, trash,
For sure.
just straight trash. And it bothers me that like Ben Affleck. I mean, just tell me another person that's played Batman that's been as big of a bat. The dude's got a bat cave in his house. Like he literally, if you go to Ben Affleck's house, he built himself a bat cave, and they got him to play Batman. And then I don't know. I've never been a Snyder fan. Like, there's very few movies he, as a director, has done stylistically. He's always been there. That's like the one thing that's like a common thread with every single one of his films is stylistically it's there, cinematography wise it's there, but they never really paired him with a good writing team.
For sure. I think this is a good a comment from Trevor Weed. Welcome to the chat, by the way, Trevor. Thanks for joining. I just don't like Joker without Batman, and I prefer Joker to be a mystery without any backstory. So the first film didn't appeal to me in the least. I can appreciate that. That is fair. I didn't think I would like it as much as I did, especially without that Batman element. But
I'm excited about this, though.
Oh, me too. I think this is going to be good. Knock on wood, cross fingers.
Batman was there. He was only like 6 years old.
I've got my hopes out for it. I've got my hopes out for it.
Rocky Balboa taking the beating of his life. I hope you're ringing that bell. I can't concentrate. It's over, Rock. Now that it's over, just give me something to drink.
I forgot about those. I forgot. They're so good. Oh man.
So when I first saw this image teased, and I saw that Rocky kind of teased in the left corner there, that Brisk Iced Tea commercial was the first thing that I thought of.
Brisk, that's what it was.
You just unlocked a core memory right there, Ben. I had forgotten about those.
That, and I don't know if you guys ever watched the Pizza Hut commercial where the lady I think it was for the stuffed crust pizza. She gets the string of cheese in her mouth and gets on a plane and then starts flying, and the string reaches. It's the weirdest commercial ever, but.
Little Caesars did a bunch of weird commercials. They were like the king of it, and then Old Spice stole it from them.
For sure. Kelvin, I don't know about your affinity or love for boxing. If you have any, is this Apollo Creed, something that will be coming to your collection, or what are your thoughts on this, good sir?
This is one of the ones that's going to be a wait till it's available to see. I just want to see some real production pieces to see exactly how this is going to come out, because I'm already waiting on my my Ali to come in from who did the Ryu? Is that
Iconic Studios?
Iconic.
Yeah.
So Iconic. So I'm waiting on that to come in. Ali's going to go in here with my Lakers squad for my sports section. And yes, I said Lakers because Marco's a Sacramento Kings fan, so I give him shit every time I can about it.
Check the standings, Calvin. Check the standings.
I'm gonna check the history and how many rings we got. So how many banners you got? Oh, that's right. You guys do Western Conference banners. That's right.
Six man. All right, 6 man.
Anyway, so but yeah, so I think it looks great. But like I said, I wanted to see actual production pieces before. But I like boxing. So we're in Creed movie number 9 right now. So
for sure, yeah.
Let's keep it going.
I had a bit of a weird experience with this because I had a bit of a roller coaster of emotions. When I first saw this, I was like, oh, cool, like an Apollo figure. And then I saw that it was being made by Star Ace, and my excitement immediately tanked because of their Homelander
from everybody.
Well, did you see that Homelander figure, the final versus the pro?
I was literally. Did you have a Homelander PTSD flashbacks of lines on the back of the head with the seam?
Yeah, it was.
The
was
Homelander
really
might be the strongest one out of the series, though, because the Starlight. Oh
the
my
Starlight
gosh.
was
disaster.
I've seen my sister have Barbies that looked better than the Starlight, so and probably more durable too. But it was a bit of a range of emotion. I don't know, I don't know if I can honestly justify pre-ordering this until I were to see it in the hand. But that it's going to be one of those figures that if you wait to pre-order it and then it actually ends up turning out well, it's going to go waitlist pretty quick. So it's do you gamble with Star Ace? Their track record's been pretty dismal lately, especially considering they have an actual license, which blows me away. To me, they look like they should be third parties. Yeah. Pete, do you collect sports figures? Is this something that would be on your radar at all?
No, I absolutely love Rocky movies, and I've been rewatching them all recently. I watched the Rocky versus Drago new director's cut of Rocky 4, which is really good. Interesting. They cut out about half of it and put about 45 minutes of new footage in. It's a good movie. I personally wouldn't touch anything Star Ace with a barge pole at the moment. Seeing what they did with the stuff from the boys. I'm not a big fan of the sculpt here. The massive hat is cool, and Zach's been rocking some large hats on the Collecting Weekly. The thing is, the one on the left looks really good. So the picture on the far left looks like a completely different figure to the one in the middle. I'd love it to turn out well, and then to launch a line, Rocky, Clubber Lang, Drago. Yeah, it'd be great. But yeah, I'd very much have to see how this turned out.
Do you think he looks too young to kit bash a Grief Karga? If people wanted to.
Yeah, people would be doing it the other way around, hoping that they bring out one of those.
No doubt, eh? That's true.
Interestingly, I was looking at the autograph prices for people at the actors and stuff at Celebration, and Carl Weathers he's the top man. He's £10 more than Ewan McGregor.
Oh wow!
So he's pitching high. £260 for an autograph.
That's crazy.
Go for him, though.
Marco, do you think this is a custom body, or is this like a stock body right out of the what are they? Fison, I guess.
TB League or Fison, yeah. So I'm not like super up on those, but I think from our discussion with Zach, he was saying it looks like a stock body. It doesn't look like a custom. It's just like a darker shade. So yeah, I'm overall not a huge fan of this figure, especially the price, right? Because it's pushing over $300.
Yes.
I only like the training version, which you're covering up most of the sculpt. You're covering up a lot of the body. I think that's the only look that really looks cool to me. In this set, I just wouldn't pay that price, but I'm with Calvin in that I'm getting that Muhammad Ali from Iconic. I do blame Pete though, because when I saw Andy on OFAC, that's kind of what got the ball rolling on me. Being interested in Iconic. I was like, okay, I just love this conversation they're having. So it would be kind of cool to pair, obviously very different universes, but in a multiverse, Muhammad Ali and this training version of Apollo Creed. But overall, I think the rest of the figure it looks rough already, and I'm scared to see what the final version may look like. And I know there are folks that are excited for it and think it does look nice, but just not hitting the mark for me personally, which is disappointing because I'd love to get others from this league, line. Excuse me.
Trimble Desir says Fison bodies do African American bodies. This looks possibly Fison, but painted. I don't know if this is painted because, like, if you look at the head sculpt versus the body, they're also kind of a different color. Like, it's not a good color match. So if they were going to paint the body, I would have hoped that they would have actually like painted it the same. If not, it's just kind of another like unfortunate knock against these guys for sure.
You said this was licensed?
This is licensed.
So that means some dude at Paramount said this was okay?
Oh yeah. Well, and so were the Homelander figure or the boys figures. Like, they were licensed and were looking real rough. So I'd be curious to see if these guys
Butcher
get
came
to
out
keep it
all
or
right.
not.
But
The Butcher was I've seen the
only
Butcher in
one.
hand. You're right. That one isn't terrible. I have seen that one in hand. That would be one I'd consider. But otherwise, like, I'm not too sure. AJ, do you collect any sports figures, or are you mostly into the superheroes and stuff?
I would like to get some sports figures. I'm not opposed to it. I currently do not have anything that's not either Marvel or some sort of sci-fi. Oh, actually, I mean the dude, but he's not really a sports figure or athletic whatsoever. If anybody knows where there's a 6-scale Marmot, if you could hit me up, that'd be cool. But no, I would buy this. I'm not opposed to buying this, but I think I'd want to know, first off, that Stallone was definitely going to happen, because I think it's weird to have a B character in a movie, and like that's the only character that you have. Mm-hmm. The tailoring looks good. I don't know why the hair is so big. The picture with the hat on looks awful.
So in the movie, though, there was a scene where he puts the hat on, and it is actually like extra large on him. Like, it looks
more
purposely a
long than
little
it
on
is
the silly side.
Wide though.
Like this?
True. Yeah, it's pretty big. And his hair was a little longer. I did go back because I thought it, like when we were talking about this on Collecting Weekly the other night, I was like, well, why is his hair different? But I guess this on the right is actually the promo image for the film, as opposed to what he actually looked like in the film. It was worthy of a rewatch for sure. Keep in mind, AJ, as well, Sylvester Stallone has his own 1/6 scale figure company now. And I would be shocked if he didn't try. Well, I'd be shocked if he doesn't put at least his own Rocky figure out at some point, especially if this tease that they've shown us.
Actually, that might not be possible.
Likeness
I
rights.
wonder. Okay, so does anybody know? No, the Rocky rights, because there's been a big thing before the coming out, or this Creed movie came out, was Stallone basically. So I don't know if it was after the first movie or the second movie, but it was one of like after either the first or the second. He sold the rights back to Paramount, and got a cash payout, and he's been kind of complaining, moaning, groaning that he doesn't have anything to give his kids, and he was trying to give them the franchise so that they could move forward with it, which is why he wasn't in the last Creed movie.
Oh, okay. I didn't know any
Because
of
there's
that.
like a contract dispute with them with that, so they might actually own the rights. I would assume if they own the rights to the movie, that means that they own the rights to his character, which means that they probably also own the intellectual rights for Rocky Balboa as a whole. So we might get this, and it might not be endorsed by Stallone whatsoever.
What were you gonna say, Pete?
He has teased the Rocky figure, not the figure, but he showed a poster like that they were going to do it. The thing that's important with Stallone is that he doesn't own the rights to any of those figures that he's bought out, but he owns his own likeness rights. So the Rambo he bought out is not licensed because 3-0 have got the
so he probably has to pay whatever studio owned, or Fox did that, right? So he has to pay Disney probably a vig for the rights for the name.
Yeah, I don't quite know how it's working, but he's doing it on the fact that they're figures of himself. So, but he hasn't got licenses for the movies that they're from. So getting around it somehow, but
naming rights might be easier than likeness rights, though.
Yeah.
Either way, Star Ace clearly needs a win. They need a win. They need collectors like us to be able to be like, that's awesome, I want it. Yeah. And so that they can start kind of continuing on with their lines. Because otherwise, I would rather see, like you guys said earlier, Iconic pick this up, or pretty much anybody else. Like, Mars Toys even. Like, their offerings lately have been insane. Like they deserve a license for some of these figures that they're making. So if these guys aren't going to step up to the plate and actually give us something that's really good, step aside, let somebody else take it on. For sure. SST Toys. I don't know if I've heard of SST Toys specifically before. It's probably an offshoot of another company, I'm sure.
This is S-Hero.
This is S-Hero, or this is Mr. Moonlight?
S-Hero. S-Hero is the ones making the Mr. Moonlight.
Gotcha. So that's probably where I got that SST from then.
Yeah.
S-Hero. Thank you for that.
Yeah, because I was going to talk about this one last night, but I decided to go the so-so route because I didn't want to talk about both of them. I want to see the suits. The costume. Okay, the facial sculpt is where this is going to differentiate. This is so-so. It's 85% of the way there. I'll be nice.
On the head sculpt or on this on
the costumes.
Okay.
Like if you were to take the one with the white head with the light up eyes versus the so-so one or the pictures that they've got out right now, virtually identical, probably doesn't make a difference. Maybe the so-so comes with a better body just because we know the quality of like so-so toys bodies. The head sculpt on the so-so one is night and day like better than this one. But this one is only $193. And I say that as a person who's been drastically waiting. The second that So-So did that drop when they did the, the Jean Grey and the Logan and all of those where they had the poster. The second that I recognized that there was a Moon Knight on there, I've been like salivating to get a Moon Knight. Like,
for sure.
One of my favorite characters ever.
I really enjoyed Moon Knight. I'd never read any of the comics when I was younger, which is surprising, and I didn't know anything about the character. Oscar Isaac obviously is a pretty iconic dude at this point, and he's a figure collector himself. I mean, one of us. Like, this man deserves his own hot toy, let's be honest.
They'll make a Mr. Knight at some point.
I think they will too. This sculpt isn't necessarily doing it for me either. I was disappointed.
Much too kind, Ben.
I don't think it's that bad either, though. I've seen worse. I have seen worse. I'm
with you, Marco. It's bad.
I'm purposely being a little kind because when I'm thinking about that Starlight figure that you were talking about earlier, Marco, like that was dog shit. This is like this. I can see him. When they showed us the tease here of the So-So Toys offering. I see him here as well. I feel like he's got one of those faces. That it's going to be a little divisive, just like the Endgame Loki I got recently. Some people were like, that doesn't look anything like Tom Hiddleston. Once it was in my collection, I thought it really looked like him.
This does look spot on, though.
This does look pretty cool. Considering it's not even painted yet, I think that's pretty fantastic. Kelvin, do you have any like third-party offerings or even So-So Toys figures in your collection, or are you mostly licensed guy at this point?
Honestly, outside of Mars, I really don't keep track of the third party names of who they are, of who they did, but I've got several third party pieces. So, what were some of the things that So did?
I've got the CW Flash, which I actually thought was a better version of the CW Flash than the Hot Toys offering. I've also got the new Unbreakable or Invincible figure coming from So Toys. I'm really excited about that one. Okay. Good price. I got him from where did I get that from now? I forget, but I'll let you know afterwards. But really excited. It hasn't come yet. Them. Like AJ was saying, they'd recently done a Rogue from
Kingsman. Okay. Yeah, it was Rogue.
Yeah.
And then they did the 2 Invincible figures. Mm-hmm. They did that Cowboy Old Man Logan.
Yeah.
Geralt from Witcher.
Yeah.
And then that's where they just went like silent.
He sounded like our buddy Zach there because he calls it Geralt as well. It's definitely Geralt. Geralt of Rivia. My nerdom, I have to correct you. It's,
whatever.
It's Geralt of Rivia, yes.
Okay. I remember some of those. No, but I've got like the full the Black Order third party. I have that full team. I've got what else do I have in here? I got the Eric Killmonger third party piece for Black Panther. I got the who's gonna say something?
The hair on that Ebony Maw that's rooted, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it bad rooted or is it like
no? I think I had like one single strand out of place when I pulled it out the box. Otherwise, it looks fine to me. The only one that I had an issue with was Proxima Midnight. Her body type was so she's kind of hitting in the back.
That's the whole figure, the proportions and just
so she's in there just because I had to finish off the collection, but she's hitting in the back behind everybody else. But the rest of the team looks great. I like all of them. So,
there was a miss.
Marco, you still don't like this, eh? Like you still think this looks that bad?
This angle looks better. What do you think, Pete? To me, this looks a little bit better.
This looks better, but I still think it looks bad.
Same figure, yeah.
It's the same figure.
I think if you're gonna, can you go back to the Mr. Moonlight? I think if you're a person and you just want a Mr. Knight or a Khonshu, I think you buy this figure and it's cheaper. You get the exact thing that you want. It looks fantastic in that orientation. You don't need to worry about the head sculpt, which I think is part of the reason why this figure is the price point that it's at, is because they know that the sculpt isn't there. If you need to have a Mark Spector sculpt, you buy the So one, or you wait for Hot Toys in like 3 years.
It's a good point. I guess the one thing we could say is So is a little bit more consistent with their quality. We don't know that this prototype is going to match up with the final product. I'm just really unfamiliar, and Joao would be ashamed. He'd be like, don't talk about figures that you don't know about. So I won't say too much about this company, but I just don't have enough background to know whether their final product is going to be as strong as what we're seeing here, because this looks significantly better, but that picture in the top right corner from the previous image scared me. Like didn't look anything like him at all. So that one was rough, but I think getting another angle, it's like, okay, this is a pretty decent offering for the price point. So I just wasn't a huge fan of the Moon Knight series overall. I thought the first episode was incredible. I was like, oh, this series is going to be great, and then it just kind of fell off a cliff for me, unfortunately. And I wanted to like it.
I don't know why they did I like the show, but it's very much more that this version of Moon Knight that we got's only been around like 20 years, not even.
Well, because it's changed. The iteration has changed quite a few times.
Actually, it might even be sooner than that. It might be like 15 years old. When Moon Knight started, he was more of like a Batman knockoff-ish. Not exactly, but like closer to that, which is why people call him Marvel's Batman. The personas that he was using didn't turn into like a psychological thing up until like 2004, maybe something like that. Yeah, so it might even be less than 10 years at this point. I like that run, and it was really trippy when you're reading in the comics, but I don't know why they held back Jake Lockley the whole series when the majority of people who were fans of like this version of Moon Knight that they gave us most of them, all they wanted was Jake Lockley, and we didn't get him. But like the final,
They got to keep people coming back for season 2. You know,
I disagree. I'm glad that they've saved that. I feel like that's still a pretty significant story beat. I think that can be a really cool part of season 2. But what were you going to say, Marco? There,
I was just going to say I saw Philip the Fool saying the wrist pegs on the Cajun car dealer. I broke one of them even after hearing everyone say heat it up, like don't try to pull it out because it's attached to the actual arm. Sure enough, snapped one. So like you talked about earlier, a little blue tack, and we've solved that issue for now. But I was pretty bummed when I broke that shit.
For sure. And I think you nailed it. I think let's let Joao Bretta, fall on the sword for this one for us a little bit, right? I know for a lot of collectors out there who are considering third-party offerings, we often let Joao pick it up and review it for us all first, and then we're always kind of like,
I also like to live dangerously.
and pick it up ourselves for sure.
Man. Nice setup.
I don't necessarily think the S Hero is going to be a miss though for the price point.
$190 is still kind of expensive, at least to me. I have to pay conversion cost. I have to pay shipping. Like that's getting to be $300 by the time I've got it in hand.
That's true.
It's like there are a lot of figures that I want that I would rather spend, I think, $300 on. So, it has to be good for me to consider it. Otherwise, it has to be a lot cheaper than that.
I look at it as like, what is the worst case scenario of that figure? And we can see that the suit and the mask, like the white mask, like the actual Mr. Knight mask, and the Conchu head are looking like good. Those are things that they're not usually going to get screwed up in the QC process. The face sculpt is what's going to end up like catching it in a QC hold like the longest portion of time. So since that specific figure, the head sculpt isn't necessarily, for me anyways, something that I would worry about because I want the other two versions of them. Worst case scenario, I spend $193. I get the suit, I get the Conchu head, I get the Mr. Knight. I spend $20 on Amazon to do a body swap, and I'm good to go.
That's fair. Vibranium Jim says the Egyptian version of Kang is supposed to be the villain of season 2 of Moon Knight, which would also be really cool.
Yeah,
that could be real cool.
Ramatut.
I guess, yeah. That could be really cool. This popped up in my feed the other day as well from Present Toys. Mad Max. Now I haven't watched Mad Max in quite a while, but I gotta say this face sculpt under the mask to me looks just like Tom Hardy. Like they've done a good job here.
Agree.
Is this something that you guys would consider picking up? I'll start with you, Calvin. Is this something that did you love Mad Max? Lukewarm on it? Would you rather have a Mel Gibson Mad Max? What are your thoughts?
For the movie itself, I love the movie. All the over the top, it was just massive. 100%. Everything that was going on. But as far as figure wise, I wouldn't need any representation in my collection. I've got enough IPs in here as it is to take up enough space. So I figure like this, he wouldn't find space in here.
We need one of those guys that has the guitar with the flame effects and stuff,
yes.
right?
That was the coolest thing about that.
Badass. Marco, sounds like you like this. Is this something that would be on your radar for a pickup?
Yes, absolutely. So, just like AJ was saying, John Wick 4 was one of the greatest action films of all time. I have to say this Mad Max Fury Road, one of the best action films I've ever seen. Just one long chase scene, right? So, I love this film. I'd love to have that representation, especially considering it was Tom Hardy, of course, with the mask over his face like they love to do. But I will say I had a bit of a confusion because I went and looked up Wasteland Ranger and then found a Virtual Toys offering that's from a few years back that looks really nice. Like the head sculpt with the mask off looked great. But, different companies there. And so it's kind of confusing that they've decided to name their figure the same exact thing. And I don't know if they ever do reissues, but I'm actually really interested in that particular version. But would love to see more of this because, this is just a really cool universe, and I would love to have a figure from it.
For sure. Mad Max was one of those films that I watched by myself, and I honestly think if I'd watched it with the boys, I would have had a more fun time with it because it was a little crazy, a little over the top. There were parts that I thought were kind of cheesy, but then looking back on it, I'm like, there was some pretty cool scenes in that film. But then I went and rewatched the Mel Gibson Mad Max film, and that was a little extra cheesy for sure.
Didn't hold up.
I think I need to rewatch this. It's been a while, so I think I need to. Wasn't Zoe Kravitz one of the girls in the white?
Zoe Kravitz was in there, and Charlize Theron.
Charlize Theron.
she's so good.
I gotta see this again.
Calvin, this is one you got to have the sound system like 80, like just bump the hell out of it.
So I'll just wait for her to leave, and then I'll just knock out the walls. Okay.
Exactly right.
Her and Tom Hardy's relationship is why they never made the sequel. Why that Furiosa movie's been in development hell. But now I think Anna Taylor-Joy is going to be in it. It's supposed to start filming like next year.
That could be cool. Like the sequel to that, to the Furiosa.
Yeah,
movie.
so they were supposed to do it, and then Charlize Theron and Tom Hardy, like they literally couldn't be. They didn't film a lot of stuff together other than the little bit that ended up in the movie, and most of those were like 2 takes because they didn't want them, like they were just oil and water, like that bad. They were supposed to do the spin-off with the Furiosa, and Tom Hardy was supposed to come back as Mad Max and have like a little part in it, and that just totally fell apart. Then the movie ends up in development hell. I think the figure looks good though. I don't know personally for this though if I'd end up, as much as I like it, it's not something that I'm like, I need Mad Max figures. You know what I mean? Like,
for sure. The video game was actually really fun. The Mad Max video game came out a few years ago. I had a great time with that one. When we're thinking about like 6-scale vehicles, there are some crazy vehicles that I think you could do. It's actually something that I really liked about the Batman film, the Pattinson one. His Batmobile to me kind of resembled like a pieced together, like almost Mad Max style car, which I thought was really, really cool and really powerful looking, right? But Pete, would you pick this guy up for your collection? Is this something that would ever interest you? Would you like the original Mad Max more, or kind of neutral in general?
Well, you wouldn't have a Brit on here without, expecting me to be really negative and so I hate
you keep us in check,
real,
buddy.
though.
You keep us real.
Yeah. I enjoyed the movie. I'm a big Tom Hardy fan. I think he puts his all into everything, and he can kind of encapsulate any character he plays. So I really enjoy that. I wasn't blown away with the movie. I think the best bit was the guy on the front of that massive vehicle playing the guitar with the flames and stuff. That's what I remember. I think because of when I grew up in the 80s, I think my enduring memory and image of if you say Mad Max is Beyond Thunderdome, and that thing is just batshit crazy with Tina Turner and there's the little guy that like lives on the back of that big giant. Just crazy stuff. So that to me is not that I'd want figures from that either, but enjoyed the movie. But again, my collection is very much kind of pared down to real passion pieces of mine and like 80s nostalgia and things like that. So I'd be more likely to have an original Mad Max, but even there I don't love them enough to
someone's doing a Thunderdome version.
Yeah.
Pete, I gotta say, watching you and Ian on OFAC on Collecting Weekly, if you guys haven't watched OFAC, you have to watch the relationship between Ian and Pete, because they're both Brits and because they both swear a lot and they're both very matter of fact. If they see a figure that they're like, "So what do you think of this, Pete?" and he's like, "Well, it's shit, isn't it?" Yeah, shit. Yeah, it's probably the worst figure I've ever seen. You know.
Next, move on.
It makes me laugh every time.
Yeah,
it's so worth watching.
We don't owe anyone anything,
shit, isn't it? Yeah.
I love your critical eye, because sometimes I feel like I'm being too negative, and then like watching your stuff, it's like a lot of the times our opinions kind of line up. It's like, no, you're just being critical, and that's totally fine.
That's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair.
And these things cost a lot of money these days as well.
Exactly.
You have to be more and more discerning, I think, with what you go with.
You nailed it. To me, I'm always worried about burying myself in my own collection. And I mean, I don't even have near the collection some of the people that follow or watch us have. But like, the more I want, the more I'm like, where am I going to put it? How am I going to add this in? Like, if I get this, what else has to go with it? What's the companion pieces? Like, and I start to have this great anxiety of literally feeling kind of buried by my own nostalgia. You know what I mean? And so you're right. Like, I think sometimes being on these panels with guys like all of you guys who are willing to be like, it's cool, but no, helps a lot, especially for me, because I need to hear that sometimes. If everybody was just a yes man all the time, I'd be like, well, shit, I need to buy everything. I'm going to have no money left. And I I got to take Sean on vacation in a week, so like I got to have some money for that. We're going to Vegas. I've never been to Vegas before. I'm really excited. So we're gonna float around the pools. We're gonna have a lot of drinks. It's gonna be fun. I'll take some pictures.
Real quick, what days are you in Vegas?
We are in Vegas from the 5th of April to the 11th of April.
I'm out the country. Damn, I'm out the country.
Otherwise,
I'm like, I would have found a way out there. Okay.
That pretty nice beds there, Ben. You can spend some time.
Hey, you are not wrong. And then they've got a lazy river and stuff on the Mandalay Bay. I'm gonna float around and drink my face off. It's gonna be great. We're not driving anywhere. She wants to go to Target. She's never been on a plane before. She's never been to the States before. It's like a huge first for her for lots of different things. And so one of the things she really wanted to see in the States was a Trader Joe's and a Target. American Target. And I was like, well, thankfully they have those in Las Vegas, so we will go to those as well.
Trader Joe's.
But we are going to spend like $100 on a cab just to go to Trader Joe's and do some grocery shopping. So it'll be interesting.
Take all our organic food from us.
Yeah, I'll keep you guys posted. I'll do some some non-collectory videos maybe while we are there. Pete, I'm going to stick with you on this one because I know you really enjoyed The Last of Us games, but also the recent television show. Definitely. And Toys R Us teased this image the other day, but then also gave us some actual like in color representations of what their figure is going to look like. Now, I don't know about you, I actually laughed out loud when I saw this, because it looks like his face has been compressed. I'm not sure what it is. It's a little off-putting. But I really like Pedro Pascal, and I really enjoyed the show. So, is this a figure you're thinking about possibly getting, British Sir? Or are you like, absolutely not, I'll wait till the next one?
No, I would consider a figure from this. I did actually have the, is it the Lim Toys? I think, or whoever did. There were two versions.
From the game
CC
version?
Toys.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah. There was, I think there was a CC Toys, and there were two versions, and someone had bought both versions and made their kind of like ultimate version of Joel, and they were selling off the other bits, basically in an entire figure. And I did own that for a while, and that was really good, and all the stuff it came with. You know, I mean, they're perfect for accessories. These, you know, all the guns, all the kind of the. I think the thing that would have been nice to see in the TV show would be more of their like where they, you know, rope together these weapons, because obviously that was a big part of the game where you got a bit of pipe and then you found some scissors and you tape that together and use that as a weapon. But no, I love The Last of Us, and I think, you know, that it would be a nice display to have the two. There's another one, another sculpt that's been solicited, isn't there? I forget who it was by. That looked stronger. Was it E Toys or something?
I think it's Lim Toys that also teased their proto, right?
Yeah.
That showed the paint.
There was one that looked stronger than this, the head sculpt. I think the one on the right looks a lot better than the one on the left. I know it's the same figure. To me, I just think it looks a little bit too chiseled. I think Pedro Pascal's got quite a fuller face. He's not like as chiseled as this.
Pete, sorry to interrupt. So it's actually Mars Toys that showed the paint test. So apologies for misspeaking there.
No, that's fine. No, but I think that one looked stronger. But obviously, it's only a render, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm gonna pull it up here.
Yeah.
So they led with the render, and then I think just yesterday they showed a paint application on it. Yeah, I had missed it as well. I think Sean Usby, speaking of hype beasts, had shown that.
How did it look with the paint on?
Really nice, actually. Looked really great.
Is it this one?
Yeah, that's
the one I saw.
Okay.
E Joe, that's where I got the E bit from. Yeah.
I mean, the only complaint I have there is I don't think Pedro's mustache actually that thick. He's got very wispy facial hair. But otherwise, I agree. The face sculpt on this actually does look a little stronger. I don't know if I'd seen that yet. Is it this one? Is that the same?
This is the one that I'm talking about. That's the Mars Toys right there.
Okay.
I like that one a lot better.
And they actually released
this one more than that one. Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
Yeah. But then I suppose also you have got the option of the head sculpt that comes with the latest Mando as well. You could futz it. I know it's not perfect. It's not the same haircut and everything, but you know, it could work.
He does look a little sad in that head sculpt, so I'm not sure if
Can we go back to This one looks like Sleepy Mando.
A little bit, eh? Just hasn't got enough
It's
sleep.
like my Razor Crest has been blown up. I have to go in this N1. There's nowhere to sleep. I got bags under my eyes. I got this kid all tapping for me to hit the hyperdrive. Like
Pedro Pascal always looks sad in his roles, though, so I think that part they got right. But he looks like almost like he's sucking on something, like it's a puckered face.
Yeah.
Like it's just not.
Okay,
quite.
I said that about Kang the other day, and then I got the racist thing. Okay,
These are my people. I can talk about it.
I see how it's going. I see where this is going. Okay.
We never said anything about lips here.
That's right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Oh my god.
Calvin, what did you think of The Last of Us? Have you watched it yet? The newest show?
Oh, I was there every Sunday without a miss.
100%.
I thought it was great. I loved the performances, so much so that I went back, repurchased the first game, and I'm in the middle of playing it again now.
It's good, eh? The remaster?
Amazing.
Yeah,
It's
I just
real
got it for
good.
the PS5. So, because I didn't finish the second one for PS4, I got so far and I was like, I mean, as soon as spoilers, but as soon as they killed Joel, I was like, that already took me out of it a little bit, and I went on and I just kind of fell off of it. So now this has kind of rejuvenated me. So after I finish the first one again, I'll go back and finish the second one. So
For sure.
That's where I'm
Does
at
it come
right
with the DLC bundled in? The one with Ellie and
It does.
friend?
It
Yeah,
does.
That was really cool.
In the mall. That scene in the mall.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting because I played it on, I think originally it was the PS3, then the PS4. I got the remaster for the PS4. And then with the show, I started playing it week over week. Almost like per chapter of the game as it was progressing through with the PS5 version. And I was blown away. Like at first it was like, ooh, tough nut, like $80 to rebuy a game I've already purchased twice before. But the way that they remastered it, like it looks, I want to say like 50 times better. Like it is so good. And it was really kind of fun to play it kind of in segments as the show was progressing throughout the week and seeing some of those like minor differences. I would totally recommend that. AJ, are you going to pick up any Last of Us figures? Did you like the show at all? Is this something you're
I love
interested
the
in?
show. I love the show, and I love the implications of the show. I liked how the spot where it ended. I won't spoil it for any people, but if you played the game, you know, like the decision that was made and then the implications of that. I don't necessarily dig this face sculpt. I think everything else about this is fantastic, though. Like, I think the flannel looks really good. I think the jacket, the backpack, the accessories look like good paint apps wise. But the bags are killing me, man. Like, it's not. I don't know. I'm not, and it's weird because if you watch my channel at all, you know, like I'm not one to really get like, oh, like. That's not something that I like really get into, but the bags under the eyes are just killing this thing for me.
Interesting. I still see Pedro Pascal in this, even though I said at the beginning I did laugh a little bit. Like, I see it. I think because the show was so well received, because the people who loved the game really loved the game. I think it's like we kind of just want to wait for the next one. It's like, okay, like clearly it was super popular. Somebody else is going to make this, right? Like, this is okay, but like I'm kind of hoping
at least two other
somebody else makes
licensed
it.
companies, or at least two other third party, and maybe some
Mars,
license
Hoth, right?
offering,
Or-
right? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to pay the license prices if I don't have to, especially if like a Mars can get us one. But I definitely want a Joel and Ellie in my collection. I wasn't totally sold on Bella Ramsey at first as Ellie. I liked Ellie from the game a little bit more, I felt like, but she did grow on me for sure. She'd be a really unique looking 6-scale figure. Can you imagine?
Yeah, that would be cool. I feel like we don't see many sub 18-year-olds.
Not very many. I know InArt's considering doing the Harry Potter line, which will be huge, but
InArt will get me once they start those Dune figures.
this made me laugh.
That's I think where they're gonna end up hooking me.
I can see
Okay, so everybody on the panel saw the finale of Last of Us.
yes, but I don't know if
Okay.
the chat has necessarily.
Do
So.
you? It's not like a spoiler. The draft. Do you remember people complaining about the draft, saying the draft was terrible CGI?
And then it
Come
was
out
actually legit.
a week later, it's a real draft.
Yeah. Which I think there was something off-putting about the scene, but I think it was because the environment around the giraffe was CGI. So like it was clearly like there was something going on there that was tweaking the eye a bit. But that was funny. Joker Jay said he looks like the guy in the truck that watches everybody else mow the lawn. I used to have a neighbor that did that when I would mow the lawn. And earlier Cuervo said that I have a big ass, and I was like, that is something that I didn't expect you to pull away from my stream there a few weeks ago, Cuervo. So now I understand why that guy watched me mow the lawn.
Ben Thomas thicker than a bowl of oatmeal.
That's right. Okay. This one pains me a little bit, and the reason is I'm a huge Ghostbusters fan. I absolutely love the Ghostbusters, and I missed the Blitzway versions in Canada. Now, if I wanted to collect all of the Ghostbusters, I'm looking at like 3,200 Canadian plus. Like, it is outrageously expensive, and they were not without some of their faults as well as figures at the time. When I heard that Present Toys, who's of course come out with this Indiana Jones recently, and they've had a lot of really good feedback there, were making their own Ghostbusters, I was like, okay, like I could get on board with that. That sounds really exciting. When I saw these images teased the other day, I'm not gonna lie, I was not super happy about it. I don't think that looks like Bill Murray really at all. I don't see it. And with Winston, like, not like a bit of a silly face aside, like he does make some pretty silly faces when he sees some of the shit that goes down. Like that's one big Twinkie. Like there's a whole lot there, but like even him, like he looks like an aged version of the character from the film. Like, this movie came out like 40 years ago at this point. He looks like a 55-year-old in that jumpsuit. So like, I don't think that the age is right. I don't see the likeness to him. I don't see it. But I need you guys to tell me I'm wrong or solidify my gut check on this, because I know that there is a lot of community members out there that are still excited about getting this. This means that they can have some level of Ghostbusters representation in their collection. AJ, is this something you're gonna get?
I'm not, and maybe I get some respect from Pete on this one for my savagery, but I think that this Ghost Hunters squad is a prime example of why Present Toys is still a third-party company. As much as they nail things like the Romero Joker and the Blade and all the other stuff that they've just been just straight crushing, then they drop this. And I know these are like early prototypes, but I feel like this is why last week when these came out, we saw the blurred over the face because they weren't ready to show it. So, I mean, I'll reserve, maybe that's like too harsh for my intro ideas on this, but like, I don't know. I mean, the outfits are close. They said that in these pictures here, the proton packs are the Blitzway proton packs, so we don't even know what their Present Toys proton packs, just that they're going to be like 80 to 90% of the way there. But what is 80 to 90% of the way? Like, what does that even mean? Like, I guess that's my thing on it. I don't know. It's hard, and we were discussing this. Brenda was discussing this, and I brought up the idea of. So we know where this is. We're going to be on the low end of the price point, and then we know where Blitzway is on the high end of the price point. Would it be cheaper to find a custom shop to buy the outfits and a proton pack with a wand and just bare bones it and just buy like a $25 body, and then I don't know what's like a normal head sculpt for a Bill Murray cost, like $200, $100, $50, something like that?
Oh, like if it's a custom head sculpt, it's probably still a couple $100, I would think. But
I wonder if it would be cheaper than buying the Blitzway ones to just custom make some Ghostbusters.
I mean, you're probably not totally wrong. I mean, it might legitimately be like I don't even see like.
I guess that's what I would present as the third option to this situation.
That's fair. No, that's fair. I think it gives somebody else like some food for thought. I think even the tailoring on the outfit is just really rough. Like, there's a lot of stuff here that just feels like really rough. And as I said, it's disappointing. I loved the look of that indie from Present Toys. I wanted that figure.
Yeah, they've done a bunch of good work. So I mean, I don't want to.
Well, and even the update with the blade, right? They showed the face sculpt of the blade. They'd heard some of the community feedback, and like within about a day, they changed it. So I'm hoping like they hear us, because like somebody even in the chat said, Tremble Dust says, why does Winston have cornrows? Like,
it's not the first time I've heard that one come up.
He didn't in the film. Like, what the heck is this? And like, are they trying to make him not look enough like it so that they don't get a slap on the wrist? But even then, like, if you're trying to create a character that looks like the character, I do think it's rough. Joker J asks, Ghostbusters fans, is it really that bad? Like, kind of. For the price point they're still asking for, I don't think that it's hitting on all cylinders. Marco, are you a Ghostbusters fan?
Yeah, so Ben, I know we're about the same age, but I grew up on the cartoon and not necessarily the films. Like I had seen the first Ghostbusters film when I was a bit older, but like I had a lot of the like memorabilia from, actually had the car and like a bunch of the figures and the Slimer, and so like had a lot of Ghostbusters stuff from the cartoon specifically. So there's like a place in my heart for Ghostbusters, but specifically the film representation, not as much. I actually went back recently and watched the first one. Great movie, like still holds up. And it had me kind of thinking about, the Blitzway, both the car and the figures that obviously are very, very expensive, but they look great. So to see that, another company was potentially going to do a third-party offering, I was excited. This isn't it, though, in any way, shape, or form. Like, this does nothing to get me excited. I would say at the very least, the Bill Murray was the first one I saw. Just the neck and the proportions just automatically just threw me off. As you go through it, there's more things that are wrong. So hoping for an update, but I will say on one of the streams I had, Anthony Six Scale Mafia did mention that he had heard that the rights had gone to another company for licensing, and he said, you won't like it though. So everyone was speculating, and I won't speculate here, but perhaps the license offering that we'll get still won't necessarily hit the mark. So then it makes you think: is it worth just going back and getting the Blitzway version and just paying the over $2,000 to get all four? Yeah. So Pete's saying
$400 just for Slammer.
Yeah. So Pete, so tell me why it wouldn't be worth it.
I'm going to offer a different slant, so I'm going to say that I like
love
them. Okay, so let me start. I owned the full set of the Blitzways way back. I got them when they first came out, and the biggest problem with them is they're oversized. They're too big. They're not 1/6 scale. So if you put them in, I mean, it's all right if you've got a shelf and you have them on their own, just the four of them. But if you put them in with anything else, they're too big. The Winston was not good. The Scott was not good. None of them were bang on. I think the Ray was the best but then if you had the goggles on and stuff, then obviously that made it stronger. Egon was pretty good. The Bill Murray wasn't that great on there, and I'm not saying this one is. I think you're going to get two sculpts with all of these as well, and I'm not quite sure whether they've just shown these two either. I mean, hopefully we get all four, and these are just going to be the first. But I'd like to think that they'd release them all together. If not as a pack, but just available to buy together. All the equipment and stuff was fantastic, and I don't doubt that Present Toys can deliver on that. You do get two sculpts, so I don't know if you've seen the alternate Bill Murray sculpt. Looks pretty good.
Yeah, they have like basically this and then a mouth open or something.
Yeah, which I don't mind as much. So I would probably would be interested in picking these up if they turned out, okay. Because I think for the prices as well, you're going to be looking at, well, from my side, probably like 150, 160, maybe bit more, maybe because of the proton packs and stuff. Which the Blitzway ones were really cool with the lights and everything. But I got the Present Toys at Indie, and apart from the, as you guys would say, the pants, trousers. Which were too short and too skinny. A lot of it was really good. So that was my first Present Toys figure, and kind of proved to me that actually they're they've got it. They can deliver. And as Mark says there, I think there is a bit of rose-covered spectacles because they command such high prices now that if you haven't
just been
had
elevated
them
in them,
if you haven't had them in hand, then I could understand that you'd kind of start to believe that they are incredible. But also at the same time, and this doesn't work on my argument by saying that I'm interested in picking up the present toys ones, is when you've got a finite amount of space and you're looking at when you've got basically 4 guys that are pretty much identical, their outfits are identical almost to the T. They might have a couple of different accessories. Bill Murray has his pants outside of his boots, but you've basically got the same figure 4 times with 4 different head sculpts. And I think at the time I decided that I couldn't justify having the 4 figures the same when so many other things I wanted. I did keep the Ray for a while.
Do people sell these solo? Can you buy a single solo?
I split them out. Yeah, they did sell them all separately.
How much does that cost? I have an idea. Just to ponder.
Oh, I don't know how much they sell for on their own now.
I wonder how much it would cost to buy 4 singles and just buy like 4 custom head sculpts of the people. I wonder how much lower that would be than the Blitzway costs.
I would think that it would be more, honestly. Even still, because even just getting the bodies with the original like Blitzway costumes, I think would still be quite. I think people would ask for a lot for that. I think they still were going like, at least in Canada, like $400 or $500 a figure.
Yeah. And I agree with Trevor that despite obviously the smaller scale, I had the Mezco ones, and I actually preferred those to the Blitzway. I thought they were.
I've heard good things about the Mezco ones.
Yeah, they're brilliant. Yeah, I just got rid of them because I don't collect that scale anymore. But they were really good figures. And obviously,
Pete,
Sorry. Yep.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. But did you ever have the Ecto one as well?
No.
Okay, too massive.
Absolute beast. Yeah, and to be honest, I only had these figures for a month or so, and
okay.
They were selling. I split them out, and I made some money on it. And no, that Ecto one's huge, and I think from living in the UK, there was not really anybody that was touching it anyway. And you would have had to a bit with the DeLorean. I'd have to go with a UK seller with something like that because I couldn't handle having that come direct from China and having problems. But it is an incredible piece. Don't get me wrong. The attention to detail and everything on it is amazing. But if I say the Batmobile was big, the Ecto one's like
it's like a mini fridge. It's huge.
Yeah.
Who do you typically have to buy them through over there?
Oh, it's a very difficult. There is no. The only official way to buy it is to order from Sideshow, which obviously.
Do you do like Toys Buying Agent or?
I tend to use TBA or 1/6 kit. I've bought a lot of my figures used on the Facebook groups and stuff like that. So, but we can't walk. You can't walk into a store and buy them. You never see them.
That's how locally it is here for me too. I'm like Sideshow or Big Bad Toy Store or somewhere.
And obviously if we go Sideshow, then we get hit with massive shipping and VAT and customs and stuff like that. So it ends up being very expensive. So it's difficult. You kind of have to. It's almost like a dark web of.
It's like almost a third of the figure price, right?
Yeah. Yes, it is. Yeah.
This is, dude.
Quick question, AJ, where are you located?
I'm in Milwaukee.
Okay.
Yeah,
I know it's probably like you're like, wait, Ravens? What? Huh?
Treble does ask to see you here, Pete. Have you heard of this?
There's a store in London and there's a couple more around the country, but they mark up their prices are unbelievable.
Of course they do.
And they do that for kind of tourists, I think. So there's one in London that's like their flagship store, and they're working on people that are on vacation on holiday. They walk in, they see this amazing thing they've never seen before, like this figure, and it's got £500 on it, and they're like, "Well, that must be that must be what these go for. I'm gonna splash out and buy that." But as a collector, you can go around and browse in there, but you wouldn't really buy anything.
And what's the name of the store?
Forbidden Planet.
Forbidden Planet. Okay.
I think they've got one in Glasgow, one in London. I don't know if there's any others, but it's not somewhere. It's not collector friendly, really. Yeah.
I just like to see things in person sometimes, not necessarily to buy, but. You never get to see them in person until you actually purchase them.
Yeah, that's a good option to go, and if you're going to be in London, if you've got a bit of time, You can go have a look. It's a good place to. They have a massive display of them all, like posed up. But yeah, you would look at the prices and go, what?
Speaking of which, Ben, there is a store in Vegas. I'll send you the info. They have a pretty decent selection of Hot Toys and stuff.
Oh my god! Actually, Shauna suggested, she was like, "Hey, yeah, you should look to see if there's any collectible stores in Vegas." And I was like, ooh,
"Well, that's Vegas.
You don't have to tell me twice.
There's nothing you can't find in Vegas if you go looking for it."
That's amazing. Big Bretta is in the chat. Good to see you here, but he just sent me a picture. I'm just trying to pull up. Actually, let me do that real quick. Remove that quick.
So, Calvin, have you been to the UK before?
Good pictures.
He did.
Sorry?
Have you been to the UK before?
My first time in Europe.
Okay. You prepare for how much more expensive things are going to be.
Okay.
Eating and...
We'll see. But you guys don't charge taxes. I'm not taxes, but like you guys aren't expected to tip out there, right? The prices of the price?
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Correct. Yeah.
And the conversion rate is way better right now than the last time I was out there.
Oh yeah, so you're getting a good conversion rate. Yeah. See, I quite like that one on the right, to be honest.
Yeah, that one doesn't look bad. That's
this is the one.
For him.
This is the one he had yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the one on the right. That's how I display it. Yeah.
It almost looks animated in a certain way. And I guarantee it's the lighting, but it's not so offensive compared to the other one we saw.
Yeah, the other one's a bit odd, isn't it? But you know,
it's still a little offensive to me. I don't I don't hate it, but I don't love it. I don't know. I don't know. Thanks for sending me that picture as well. I don't know if that actually helped all that much. But
I don't get why. Sorry. You can go, Calvin.
No worries. I was just curious if Calvin had any thoughts on Ghostbusters in general. Like, are you a huge fan? Did you have the Blitzway?
He's chasing all of the Blitzway
chasing
ones.
it. I didn't know that.
You see the whole proton pack right there?
Oh shit! Look at all that.
Damn.
So yeah, man.
Fair.
I just cussed out brother and Mario in our chat right now because I'm driving back. I'm delirious driving back from Phoenix Friday night, and I get all these chats going on. And they usually are always talking while I'm driving, so I usually don't pay attention. Then across my screen, I say, "Somebody hit Calvin." I'm like, "What just happened?" And Mario's like, "Yo, bro, they got a 3-pack right now, 1,800." I'm like, I'm leaving the country in a week. I'm not trying to spend 1,800 right now. And like in 3-pack, I'm like 3-pack. So you call the brother about a 3-pack that doesn't have the brother in it. Like,
oh my god!
I'm gonna get my Ghostbusters and not have Winston in the package. Yeah. Come on now. And then right now, they just hit me about a Han, a Farm Boy Luke, and a Han Chewie pack, and the Spice Runner hit. And I was like, God damn it, Sean, let me get some pictures. I was like, y'all keep messing with me. I always say this shit, and I'm not looking for it.
I don't get why companies take photos. I'm going to retract my Sleepy Bill Murray statement on this picture right here, and go back to my normal cause, which is bad photographer.
I mean, maybe I don't know though.
Look at the lighting in this one.
We're gonna get into the lighting debate. I don't know. I don't see it.
It might be a rough product though that they're trying to spice up a little bit with some
but it bothers me because why
lighting.
would you not hire a dude that's good at photography that understands how to shoot the photo? Because the second that you drop these pictures, now that's all anybody talks about. I understand that at maybe a 2,000, 5,000, whatever the batch size, if it's smaller, there's not enough of us necessarily like buying things. But like, why wouldn't you put your best foot forward in everything that you do, no matter what?
I would agree with that. I think, Marco, you've had that complaint even within like places like InArt before, where it's like, if you're going to show your hand, show your best hand.
Control the messaging.
Yeah, I think that is really important. It is really important.
Dude, it bothers me. If there's anything that I go on a rant or a tangent about, it's that. It's like literally the photo aspect and how they decide to market things. But
yeah, you're not wrong, because you only get to make one first impression. So if you put out something that's not perfect, that doesn't perfectly showcase your product, then it's an uphill battle.
Well, plus, it's so annoying to listen to people like, oh, that face sculpt sucks, and then 2 months later we see it in hand and they're, oh, it's the greatest thing ever, and then all the rebel goes away. Like,
I do agree. Sometimes having it in hand does help, though. It does. Like, there's been figures that I was like, I'm not too sure, and then once I did get it in hand, even like my Loki recently, I was like, I like that way more than I even thought that I would, especially from the initial solicitation photos. But Big Bretta says here, you guys need to understand that these photos are heavily photoshopped because the figures at this moment are like 20% ready, which is a really good call out too, right? I mean, if these are only half baked, like, we may get updates, especially from Present Toys. Again, when we were talking about that blade earlier, like, they heard the community feedback and then they re-released another photo of kind of their updated sculpt. Calvin, if you do end up picking up the Blitzway ones, though, you make sure you share that with us.
I don't think I mean, I've got like 5 different sellers already on eBay that I'm constantly watching, so I don't know. I've got the car, one of the mini cars I have ordered, but I don't know if I'm gonna go through with that one or not.
That's fair enough.
I already got like 3 other Batmobiles and the DeLorean and that, so I don't know.
That is fair. Kang from Hot Toys. We finally got one. I'm very excited. Very, very excited here. Now, Jonathan Majors was in the news, I think it was yesterday, with apparently some charges. It sounds like now it's coming out that there's some video evidence that might not actually be as true of a story as it was.
Not just charges, though, Ben. He was arrested from what I saw on,
Yeah, so not cool, especially if it's something, that was meant to kind of smear his name and stuff like that, because, I mean, that kind of thing can have a devastating impact on anybody, especially somebody like Jonathan Majors, who right now is doing well. I mean, he's an absolute superstar for a lot of people, and I think he's going places. His acting chops have been fantastic. So I'm hoping that the update to that story is accurate and that was a little overblown.
If they find out, I'm totally in favor of us making some sort of a law that if somebody tries to come out and be like, this person did this, and this to me, and then we find out that they're full of shit, guess what? Whatever years that they were looking at getting charged for the shit that you just cooked up and decided to accuse them with, guess what? You get to serve that now, and we're going to give you the same crime.
Can I play devil's advocate really quickly, though? Because obviously, like, this is a delicate matter because it was a domestic dispute. I think from the article that I read on TMZ, which is now very reputable, I normally would be leery, but they're very reputable.
No, not at this point. They're like Deadline, where they do
their stuff. That the victim potentially had marks on them, and that there were visible signs of domestic abuse. So I want to be really careful because I'm a huge Jonathan Majors fan, rooting for him. Really want this figure, but we just don't have all the information yet. I think I just want to be careful about.
Oh, I'm not saying that he's guilty or not guilty.
I know you're
I'm
not.
just saying if we find out that it's some cooked up whatever thing, like, there needs to be some sort of a punishment for that. Maybe not as extreme as what I was just saying 2 seconds ago, but like there needs to be some sort of something so that people can't go around, especially like today, with the way things go, like people could just be like, oh yeah, this person works for this person, and nobody fact checks it or anything, and we just decide to run with this person's an agent for this people or these people.
No doubt, when there's money involved, things are very murky for sure.
For sure, accountability is important for sure. I think that's what I'm getting from what you're saying, AJ. I think accountability is important. In Canada, we'd be likely to just serve them coffee and call it a day. Like our law system here is pretty lax. Having said that,
don't seem to have people doing a bunch of crazy shit like that either, though.
Sometimes a little less crazy. I mean, that's because we're all smoking the green lettuce over here. We're all like too good of a mood. Let's be honest. On the other hand, I'm happy that news came out because I really want this figure.
I already bought it.
I didn't absolutely love the Quantum Mania film. I didn't hate it either, though. I thought it was okay. I think that was how I came away from it as well. But I did feel like Kang was one of the best parts of the film. And when I saw this head sculpt the other day, I was actually blown away. I know it's been a little bit divisive. Some people really love it, like me. Some people are kind of like, it looks like he might be a little bit younger or not quite bang on. I think it looks phenomenal. In fact, I think I'd still rather display him with the Jonathan Majors head sculpt versus the blue sculpt, even though the blue is so like iconic in terms of the comic book offering. We don't have a lot more time left, but I want to get you guys really quick thoughts on this. Pete, did you see Quantumania? Are you thinking about getting this figure?
No, but I did enjoy the movie.
Shit.
No. I actually enjoyed the movie, and I really liked the end scene as well. Obviously, it involved Kang. That was cool. I thought it was really good. Yeah. I just don't collect Marvel. I don't collect. I used to have a Marvel collection. I've recently gone back and got some Spider-Man stuff, but yeah, for that reason, I wouldn't be interested in buying anyway. But it looks like a decent figure, and yeah, I thought it was pretty good. So yeah,
price point wise, I think it's pretty impressive. I feel like Hot Toys was starting to kind of scale up their pricing for a little while. It was starting to get kind of crazy. And now they've started to come back down again. Like 2 head sculpts here, a unique outfit, a different kind of display stand. I mean, we got back to that like hexagonal one, which is a little weird. I feel like that one seems a little aggressively large, considering the figure. But even still, the pricing I think was $285. Correct me if I'm wrong, Marco.
That's right. Spot on.
Yeah. So I like that to me that's a win for Hot Toys. Calvin, I've heard guys like Lael say in the past that, you know, he feels like there needs to be more racial representation in Hot Toys. And we're still missing amazing, iconic actresses and actors. You know, I'm thinking of Wakanda Forever, you know.
I've got everyone, and I'm still missing several characters.
Absolutely. Riri Williams, Namor, Okoye. Like, there's so many figures that I still want from just that one film, let alone all of the different franchises that are out there.
Or Xandor.
100%. You're not wrong. Absolutely. Do you feel like Hot Toys is turning around on that a little bit, or are they only giving us this because this is still a headliner and he's got to be one of the biggest actors in the world at this point?
Well, I mean, it was just him and Ant-Man. I mean, him, Ant-Man, and the Wasp, really, right?
Cassie.
Like I said, I mean, Cassie, we may get her, but I mean, as far as the big headers, it had to be those 3. But like you said, how do we not have a Okoye? How do we not have an M'Baku? Like
so
just the presence they had on screen as far as a cast.
Amazing.
How do we not have a Queen Rwanda? You know, so I try and get as much representation in here as I can. So, but on top of that, the figure looks amazing, both the regular sculpt and the lit up. And I'm a sucker for lights. Anything that lights up, I light it up in my room. So
that's one of the best parts of your collection, Calvin.
Thanks.
Is all your fusion reactors and all the lights. That's like, that makes me so jealous.
Yeah, I hear everybody complain about the batteries. I'm like, I mean, once you get one or 2 in after you've done it for so long, I pop them just out, you know, fit it in there and screw it up, done deal. So it's really not that big of a deal. It is tedious at times, but it's not that big of a deal. But, you know, once you run some wires and everything, you know, it's not so bad. But I definitely will have that sculpt on that lights up. That looks amazing.
Absolutely. Marco, would you get yourself a MODOK if they give us this figure?
Yeah, I am less enthused by a MODOK figure. I actually liked how they approached MODOK in the film. Like, it was pretty
hilarious.
Yeah, I thought it was like a really fun part of it. Yeah. Just like so upsetting every time he was on the screen. So like, I really enjoyed it, but don't think I need the MODOK 1/6 in the collection. Unlike the Kang, which I absolutely like. I've already pre-ordered the figure. As of last night when I saw the news about Jonathan Majors, I was like, well, it's not really looking great for him. Really depressed. Like, it really made me sad for him and, you know, for the future of a franchise that I really care about. So obviously there's larger things at play than comic book films. But yeah, so one that I'm really excited to buy, if we just kind of put the legal stuff aside. I think it came out looking really nice. I love the 2 options, love the price point. So the whole time I was watching the film, I was like, that's going to make a great toy. And it seems to have translated very well to a Hot Toy. So overall, very excited.
Absolutely. Do you think we'll get this face sculpt under that plate, or do you think they're just going to give us a fixed plate?
Please give us a fixed plate. We don't need this. No one needs this. What do you think, Pete?
Oh, I'd love to see it. Just for the fact that
it's so weird. Like,
yeah,
it would make you laugh every time.
You know what?
You
You just turned me. I've not been in favor. Now I want
to see him. Definitely. Yeah. Come on, Hot Toys.
Oh my god. This is the head type. Like, this is what I was expecting out of a MODOK. Not necessarily this.
Well, keeps the spirit of it almost.
If you think of it,
love the tiny arms.
Aaron versus MODOK, like, I dug MODOK. I did not necessarily dig Darren.
That's fair.
Like when he had the mask on, like what the figure is, and the chainsaws, and he was going like comic book style MODOK, he's got to like trying to mess some stuff up. That was like all about that. I'm hoping for a MODOK and Kevin 2-pack because they teased the Kevin in the She-Hulk figure. So can we get a MODOK and a Kevin 2-pack, please? Please, Howie. Please, that's what AJ wants for Christmas.
That'd be such a weird 2-pack, but I would take it.
That's why I
would
want
consider it.
It's the weirdest 2-pack. They can call it the weird pack. I don't even care, dude.
I can't remember who was saying it, that they thought this would be a power pose. I was on another stream the other day, and they were saying it would be power pose. I'm like, I don't know what kind of articulation you expect out of these little dinky ass legs, though. Anyways, but I mean, I'm hoping for better articulation than some. So we'll see. I think they should give us this face. Honestly, I think that would actually inspire me to buy it, because as weird as it looked, it's still kind of iconic to this character now. Like now, when I think of MODOK, close my eyes, unfortunately I see Darren's face here. Whereas this, as I said, is really the MODOK I thought we would get. I didn't watch the Disney Plus MODOK show all that much. I watched the first one or two episodes.
With Patton Oswalt?
The animated one, yeah.
Yeah, that's on Hulu.
Okay,
at least it is here. You might have it on Disney Plus over there.
Oh yeah, in Canada they had it.
Oh yeah, Canada. My bad, dude. I loved it.
Yeah, I have only watched. I want to go back to it and give it another shot. But if you guys liked it, I'm willing to consider it. I think overall, my overall thoughts for Kang, just in general, is either way. If you don't absolutely love this particular version of Kang, I mean, they only called him Kang straight up. They didn't call him Kang the Conqueror. We saw that there's going to be more Kangs coming in the films. If we get a Ramatut or one of those, like, we're gonna see this actor play multiple versions of this character. So I don't think that this has to be the only one in your collection. However, in terms of definitive Kangs, this one still to me really resembles the comic book version of him. And it would be curious, is it going to be like a Hulk situation where Hulk for me was coolest in his first form? And if I'd been collecting Hot Toys Hulks at the time when that first figure had come out, that would have been the one that I wanted, not what we have now with Smart Hulk. So that could, to me, was still more of the definitive edition of that Hulk. Same thing for this figure. Will this end up being more of the iconic look for Kang, and we'll get multiple other variants, but people will end up chasing this one because it's a little more comic book-esque? Hard to say, hard to advise people on that, but if you like the movie and you like this character, I would say consider it. We've got one more 3-minute segment. AJ, I want your thoughts really, really quickly on this. This showed up on your Facebook the other day.
Oh, yeah.
And this is a bit of an offering you've been doing on your channel, which is why I wanted to quickly re-highlight it. Can you just give us a really quick breakdown of what we're looking at here and why people should follow your channel for this kind of update?
Oh, okay. So every Wednesday I do what I call Waitlist Wednesday. For the last, since October, I have been tracking the waitlist and the issues and problems and things that it causes for us as collectors, and reporting on that. A lot of it I have been working on with Aries from Six Scale Cantina, just bouncing ideas back and forth because he was doing it as well. I have about 30 years worth of sales experience, so I look at it as, if I was Sideshow, what would I be doing? And a lot of the things that I would do if I was like physically working for them just kind of ended up being the way that they were doing things. So then we starting to figure out, how does the process work? What are we seeing? What are they like? What cards are they showing us with the behaviors that they're doing? I wouldn't trust a waitlist thing that happens on the weekend because they do a lot of things manually. I talked about that on my channel too. The code, you can't actually see where it's connected. So when you see the red label, it literally is manually entered, if coding at all, where they just go in and just write low stock. That doesn't mean it's a pump fake before anybody tries to go that way. Low stock has been confirmed by a number of retailers and resellers as well. And basically the life cycle, if you want to watch a more in-depth version, since we're a little short for time today, you can watch my stream from last night. I'm going to try to clip that as well. But basically we have an announcement, like everybody should know what an announcement is. Like you get the photos of, hey, this is the figure, it's going to go on pre-order. 1 to 7 days later, it's going to go up for pre-order. 4 to 6 months after that, it's going to hit the wait list. The reason that that's happening is where I'm trying to get more data on right now. I'm trying to see if, because the number of figures that they leave on the for sale section at any one given time is 60 figures at a time, give or take. I mean, sometimes it's 63, sometimes it's 54. So it fluctuates, but it's typically right around 60 figures. I'm trying to see right now if that's a swap. So like there's only 60 figures, or if it actually is what we believe is the 4 to 6 month window for, say, 2,000 figures would be approximately 14 figures a day. 5,000 figures would be approximately 27 figures a day per figure. After the thing hits the wait list, about 1 to 2 months later, it's going to go into production, which takes about a month, but you can then end up with QC holds on the face sculpts. That could be up to 6 months. So that's where you usually see like figures started to get delayed. And then once it ends up releasing, 4 to 6 weeks after it releases, with the exceptions of things like the Mark 1 currently, which is still in the pre-order status. I don't know what the hang-up is on that, if that's a production thing or whatever. But 4 to 6 weeks after release, it's going to go to add to cart status. 6 months after that, it's going to be eligible for promotions. And then about a month or two after it's eligible for promotions is where you'll see them start to heavily discount things, which you can find by watching the Bargain Bin Bros.
My guy.
Awesome. Thank you for running that down quickly. I clearly don't like to read
I know it's a
all that
lot,
much.
and I hope I
It is
didn't
a
blow
lot.
anybody's brains
Nope.
out. Like,
And we had a very full show sheet. So again, the reason I just wanted to highlight that for everybody was if that's information that you feel like could benefit you in any way, shape, or form, head over to Hoth's Hometown Heroes YouTube channel. Check him out. Hit the subscribe button if you can. Mr. AJ, that's it for today. Tell me what you got coming up, good sir. What's going on in your life or on your channel that you want people to know about?
I'll be clipping the section for y'all probably tonight or tomorrow, so you can look for that. I don't know what I'll brand that is because I don't have a thing for that yet, so I'll probably just label it, figure out some way to label it so you guys know what you're looking for. Otherwise, if you want, you can find it on the Figure Freakout, which was last night, which has now been re-uploaded as a video, and it'll be the first one on there. It's got a bunch of little hexagons, and I saw a lot of the figures we just talked about today on this. And then I do 5 minutes or less throughout the week, depending on what the drops and all the info is. And then it's me and Riol for the Figure Freakout at 10:30 CST on Saturdays.
Very cool. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you for coming on the Ben Thomas Show. We definitely appreciate your presence. Check
to
him
meet you,
out.
mate.
Pete, you've been a weekly regular here now for a couple weeks in a row. This is the 4th show, and it's going to continue. Tell me what's going on in your life over at OFAC, good sir. I know you got celebration coming up, but tell me what's up.
We had episode 88 of OFAC last week, so check that out if you haven't already. And we'll be back on live next week, which will be our last show before celebration, literally just 2 days before. So we'll have a fairly normal show, and then we're looking at maybe doing one in the week after, to showcase any kind of like video or photos and stuff that we shot at the event. We're going to try and do some live streaming and stuff, but obviously we're not quite sure what sort of signal we're going to have, or if there's going to be any Wi-Fi available. And really, we're just looking to meet as many collectors as possible. It'd be great to meet yourself, Calvin, if we can, make that happen. We're there on the Saturday. But yeah, it's going to be great, and I think that's our agenda really, is just to meet up with fellow collectors and have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So again, that's Collecting Weekly, OFAC, OFAC. Check them out if you haven't had a chance. Super funny guys, and always a good chat for sure. Thanks for coming, buddy. You're always welcome here. So keep me posted if you want to come back.
Yeah, definitely.
And same goes for you, Mr. Calvin. Now, I hope you are being safe on the road when you're trying to order Blitzway Ghostbusters. But tell me what's coming up in your life.
I'm a professional out here. I'm a professional out here. I can eat, email, drive, search for an order. I got me on the phone arguing with my wife. I got multiple things at once.
That's fair. Anything going on that you want to highlight there, either on your Instagram or anything like that, good sir?
No, I'll be posting some pictures when I get out the country. I usually put my travel stuff out there, and
Can't wait to see it, bro.
Thanks. I'm really, this, like I said, my first time to Europe. I've been to Dubai and Maldives, so those have been my furthest trips I've made so far. But everything else has been Caribbean and Mexico and things like that, local stuff. But Say What Wednesday, Best of Best Thursday, LWO Friday. So I guess I'm pretty popular this week.
You're gonna need your own. You're gonna need your own channel. People are gonna be like, "Where do I find this man and his collection?" Like, come on.
My wife has said, "Well, why don't you do it?" I'm like, "I don't have the time." Literally, after I'm off with you guys, I'm about to start packing up. I got to go to Frisco tonight. When I
That's
get back,
fair.
I'll be going back out to Phoenix. So and everything is last minute. Don't know where I'm going until I know where I'm going, kind of thing. So trying to do videos and have set times for things is just. It's better when I can just jump on your guys' stuff and be like, hey, I'm here.
That's
All right, now I
There
gotta
you
go
go.
out.
That's fair. There's some time commitment there for sure to having the own channel for sure. But I'm sure I speak for all of us. If you ever need us to show up and support you on your own gig, please let us know. I
appreciate
we
you
will all
guys.
be there for sure. Marco, I had a great time with you today watching Cuervo unbox his Joker. I know Gigi was in class at the time. What do you guys have coming up in your life? What do you want to highlight today on the Good Show?
Ben, first of all, thank you for having me. Really, really fun conversation today. So thank you for also joining that unboxing earlier today. Check us out over at 16fix. We've got episodes of the She Said No podcast upcoming. Going to do the Bargain Bin Bros. Also LWO on my channel this Friday. So kind of a reschedule from last week. I will also be on Collecting Weekly this Tuesday. So yeah, keeping plenty busy. Not as popular as Calvin, but we've got plenty going on. So yeah, thank you again, and go check us out at 16fix if you haven't already.
Awesome. Tonight, there is going to be a showdown on Nick_Collectibles YouTube channel. There is at least 30 of us streamers, YouTubers that are going to be in the chat watching a recreation of ourselves as wrestlers, I believe, wrestling each other. Nick sent me a picture of what my character looks like. I've never had a waist that skinny or arms that big, so I appreciate that I look that good on camera, clearly for Nick. But join that chat tonight, Nick's_Collectibles. I think it's going to be a really, really fun time and something really unique, something I don't think I've ever seen on a YouTube channel before.
Such a great idea, honestly. When he mentioned it, I was like, oh, this is so cool.
So how does this? Are you guys like video gaming, or how does this?
I think we're watching them play a game. I think
he might have the computer
characters.
simulating it, and then
so it there's
Okay,
stats that they've entered. We all have our certain stats, and then they kind of pit us against each other. So I could end up fighting Leal or Marco or some of those guys.
So it's basically, not that it is like WWE 2K23 or something like that, but they basically created all of y'all in a video game, and then they're just going to play it.
Sounds like it. And we're gonna root for each other. We're gonna root for ourselves from the chat line.
That sounds good.
It does sound kind of fun. I'm excited for it. So that's tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Those say the same number. I think it's 8 tonight, I believe. It's in the next 2 hours. So keep an eye on that. I don't know. I think it must be PST. I didn't catch that.
I think 8 p.m.
from
EST, 5 p.m. PST. I
PST.
just saw
Thank
that
you.
right there too.
Thank you very much. Check that out. Clearly I'm going to win, and I guess that there are some mystery wrestlers that are going to show up. It's probably just going to be Riley, let's be honest. But either way, I'm excited to see that all go down. In terms of the Ben Thomas show, what do I have coming up? I've got an unboxing coming up, a secret one here soon. It's a figure that I did not expect to get in my collection, so stay tuned for that. I also have another toy store tour that I want to check out. They're opening another, what's it called? Toys R Us here in Calgary. A brand new location, and it's been a while since I've done a toy store tour, so I might go in there live with the chat at some point. Something that I haven't done before, because previously I wasn't doing much in the way of live shows. So, and then every Sunday, Sunday over Sunday, if you guys like the show, come back next week. We will be back for another Ben Thomas Show episode of Let's Get Nuts. You may see some of these guys, you may see all of them. We're going to have rotating panels all the time. If any of you guys out in the chat have ever wanted to join a live stream, chat with me. I can always bring you on. There's nothing wrong with that. Even if you wanted to come on and talk about a figure that really creates some passion for you, I think that could be fun. But again, please follow the Ben Thomas Show. Hit the like button. I think we had about 35 people in the chat at one point, which is awesome. I really appreciate you guys for joining me today, so I didn't have to talk by myself to my closet. Really, really appreciate that. Follow all the guys down here below, and we will catch everybody on the next Let's Get Nuts. Thanks for watching, everybody. Love y'all. Talk to you on the next one.
Bye.
I'll be back.